Welcome everyone, it's November 9th, 2022, the Mayor and Council meeting in Oakland. Before we begin, everybody please look at your cell phones and either put them on vibrate, mute, or turn them off. Also, please refrain from texting because it is discourteous and it is also very disruptive and could be construed as a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. At this time, I ask for a roll call.
Mayor Schwager.
Here.
Councilman Kamala.
Here.
Councilman McCann.
Here.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Here.
Councilman Saliani.
Here.
Councilman Sasinski.
Here.
Councilman Talamini.
Here.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. The meeting will adjourn at 10 p.m. unless a majority of the council members that are present vote to extend the time. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. And my mayor's report tonight is very brief because we have a big presentation. I want to thank all the volunteers, press, Councilman Talamini, public events, for a very, very nice Halloween celebration. We had a lot of kids.
It was one of our best ever.
It was fun, and we had, I guess, public events made sure we had perfect weather.
Yes.
It was just a wonderful, wonderful event, and I thank you. And the next celebration is, and it's a celebration, it really is, it's on November 11th. This is Friday, Veterans Day, at 10:45 a.m. in Veterans Park. I want to thank the members of American Legion for organizing this important ceremony. We do this every year, and it's very special. If it does rain, I'm told it's going to be moved indoors. I'm told a storm is coming, but we don't know if it is or not, or when. But if it does rain, the ceremony will be moved indoors at the American Legion building. And then our next big celebration will be the holiday tree lighting and menorah lighting. And in addition, for the first time ever, will be the Parade of Lights. And that will add to the festivities. I'm told it's going to be very small this year. We're going to start small with the Borough trucks. And then we will gradually grow. But this is going to be very nice. I'm very excited about that, and thank you. And also public event, my home report tonight is about public events. Winter Wonderland. As you know, the county in Van Zorn Park has what's called Winter Wonderland every year. And they have a tree for every municipality. And each municipality is given a tree to decorate. And then there's a contest, and it's all lit up. And once again, Chopper is going with members of public events and will decorate the Oakland tree. So if you do go to Van Zorn Park to go to Winter Wonderland, there's ice skating, there's amusements. It's really very, very exciting. Visit the Oakland tree and you will see that it was done by Chopper and public events. And before we end my report, which is very brief tonight, I want to congratulate John McCann, Councilman John McCann, and Kevin Slazinski for winning the election this year. And I just want to congratulate them. And I called John that day to say that it was really very nice to have an upbeat election and not bashing everybody like was on TV all for months. Everybody, it was just disparaging. Everybody was disparaging everybody instead of talking about the issues or talking about what good they can do. So I called John before the election results to say, I just want to thank you for running such a very, very good campaign. And
Oh, we got time. We got time.
oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, by the way. Thank you.
We all have to work together because we're here to all work together for the best interest of Oakland, for all our residents and our children. So I'm glad you're here tonight. Well, with that, I will entertain a motion to open to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Just speak. Remember, the microphone is above you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, I have one more announcement, I just ended this. Please make this general announcement tonight. Effective Tuesday, November 15th, that's next Tuesday, Altice Optimum Public Service Channel 77 will be upgraded to HD. Customers with SD equipment can call 1-866-347-4784 to upgrade equipment. Thank you for being an Optimum customer. And that was my special announcement. Okay, now, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Heffernan. I live at 40 Grove Street, Oakland, New Jersey. Tonight, I would like to augment the council discussion at the last meeting regarding the preservation of Oakland's architectural history. Specifically, there should be a committee or a commission, the pros and cons of which are being currently researched by legal counsel. But first, a couple data points on the topic. It is estimated that there are between 250 and 300 municipal historic preservation committees in New Jersey. That's about 50% of all towns and communities and cities in the state. In Bergen County alone, there are 53 historic preservation commissions, alone representing 75% of the municipalities in this county. Only Englewood Cliffs has a committee. That's 98% approval rating of the commission approach to protect their architectural treasures. We in Oakland don't have neither a committee or a commission. Why is that? Think about it. Why is that? Yet this village has more remaining historic architectural buildings than any town I can think of. And why don't we have any effort to protect our unique architectural heritage? Consider for a moment that each of the 250 to 300 towns and cities in this state have historic preservation commissions have gone through the committee versus the commission approach, examining the pros and cons precisely as what is being accomplished here. Their individual and collective decisions have resoundingly taken the commission route for the preservation of their heritage. That fact alone gives pause and reasons to ask what are the tangible benefits accruing to a commission. The near universal acceptance of a commission route speaks strongly and loudly in a voice that should not be ignored. There is a collective wisdom there that they know something that we don't yet know. We should listen very, very closely and learn from them. Let's take a comparison look between commissions and committees. A committee reports directly to the council. Its recommendations possibly bypassing planning, zoning, construction. On the other hand, a commission is advisory to the planning, zoning, and construction. That group makes its decisions of a project acceptably predicated upon the architectural standards developed by the commission. There is no opportunity for loggerheads. Councilman McCann noted that there is occasionally a commission can be at loggerheads with planning and zoning. The vision of the proposed commission addresses that situation and eliminates that prospect. The use of a commission carries far more perceived authority and statute than a committee. Being a commission enables an array of benefits from the state, including eligibility for grants and technical assistance from the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law and the Certified Local Government Program. These benefits are not available to committees. The use and involvement of a committee for historic preservation communities at a level of seriousness that all developers and store owners are found with committees. A commission is better equipped than a committee to influence and manage any development in a historic zone through its procedures and interaction with planning, zoning, and construction. Councilman Talamini was spot on when he pointed out that historic preservation committees are toothless. Thank you for that comment. Yes, they are. But maybe to hand out the mission statement for the commission developed recently. You'll pardon this interruption for a moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Mayor?
Thank you.
Sure. No, we did not. I want to. This mission statement is intended to be incorporated in entirety in the proposed ordinance creating the Oakland Historic Preservation Commission. It is time, if not long overdue, to step up to the plate and manage the anticipated development accruing to the advent of sewers for downtown and along Roundwood Valley Road while protecting our precious architectural history. The future of downtown tomorrow and beyond for generations to come is in your hands. Hands now, and I strongly submit the creation of the Historic Preservation Commission will achieve that vision. I'll close with a quote by Bud Verbitt, the mayor of Oakland in 1952, on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the founding of Oakland. He said, and I quote, "To know where we are going presupposes to know where we have been. It gives us a perspective. It imposes a sense of guardianship, trust, and a reason for proper care of the resources which served our forefathers well, must also serve our heirs." Those words were prescient then and form an imperative today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your research.
I'd like to point out, though, that in the document I just handed you, point number 2 under the mission says to act as an advisory capacity to the planning board, the zoning board, and the construction department by recommending the acceptance or rejection of a construction plan predicated upon conformance to be defined Victorian styles within the designated areas. The key word is advisory. I ask you also to turn to the last page on how this would work. Little diagram there. The property owner, has a plan. He goes to the planning board and the zoning board. Both refer the plan to the advisory committee. The advisory committee says yes or no, conforms or doesn't conform. Sends that back to the planning board and the zoning board. The planning boards and zoning boards have the authority. If there's a disagreement, the commission loses. It's that simple. There's not a space for an argument. We may grumble, but we lose or we win. It's in conformance. So there's no loggerhead possibility here. The commission knows where it stands relative to who it serves. It serves the planning board, it serves the construction, and it serves the zoning board. It's that simple. It's not difficult at all. We must have a commission, not a committee. Time is of the essence. We have sewers coming. We cannot play games. We cannot do a learning curve. Then maybe we'll decide sometime in the future. The future is now. So we must preserve the opportunity and create the opportunity to control the development relative to history of Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? No? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now we have a presentation of Kusala, but Kusala Care LLC. But before we have the presentation, I want to introduce the attorney that is helping us throughout this process. Ron, would you come up and say a few words and talk about the process and what people are going to be hearing? And just say
Sure.
briefly, because we know you're Ron, briefly.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. I'm Ron Mondello, and I typically represent municipalities in this cannabis space. I previously represented Atlantic City. I do represent Hoboken. I represent Jersey City, Oakland, well, you know that, Maywood, and Hightstown, with a couple more coming online. So what is the council's process this evening? You're going to hear an application from these folks. I mean, I've gone through the paperwork. I have some questions. I'll try to be brief after they're done. But essentially, what are they looking for from you? They want something called a resolution of support. It's the key to getting a license from the state. If you decide not to issue the resolution of support, they'll never get a license from the state. So there are really two components to this process: the resolution of support and then your local licensing, which Richard has down cold. And if and when they do get a state license, and apparently the state has been very generous, they're really handing out many, many, many licenses. They will get it, and then they'll come back here for the licensing process. Any questions? Well, thank you again, appreciate it.
You're on. And introduce everybody who's here with you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is George Lutfi. It's my partner, Justin. You may have met him last time.
I hope everyone remembers me from last time. My name is
Oh, yeah.
Justin Lee.
Just speak louder because the microphone's in the ceiling.
Microphone's
Yes.
that one, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
And you have people with you that are also involved. Want to
So-
introduce them so everybody knows?
of course, this is Nima Amiri. He is our lawyer, and sitting next to him.
Of course.
Hi, everyone. Not in a legal capacity, just
Oh, yeah.
supporting him over here. I can promise you no comments.
And George.
And next to him is my father, Gregory.
Oh, well, that's important. Okay, good. Hi,
How you doing?
My dad unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but
you're on.
my dad and George's father are investors in our company. So, yeah. So, thank you everyone for allowing us to present tonight. We really appreciate your time, and we'll try to make it brief, not take up too much time. And so, first, my name is Justin Lee. I grew up in Paramus, from second grade until high school, and I went to Rutgers, New Brunswick from 2012 to 2014, and I graduated from Bergen Community because I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. So I met George for less than, let's say, wholesome reasons, and we were struggling to find a path for our future for a while. And from the years of 2014 to 2017, we experimented with a couple, we experimented with a couple drugs, and we found some dependency with benzodiazepines and opiates from 2014 to 2017. So we found medicinal cannabis around 2017 and were able to use it as an exit drug rather than a gateway drug that a lot of people view it as. And that is actually one of our missions, to try to change that public perception of how we can use this plant if we use it with intention, that it could actually really improve your quality of life rather than diminishing it. So Jordan and I have been sober for 4+ years since 2017. We're called in the cannabis community green and sober. It's the idea of sobriety is kind of evolving, and it's with the new legal cannabis space. We hope to positively implement it into society without any type of, and kind of get rid of the old propaganda that there might be still lingering in society.
I'll just give a brief background about myself before we move forward. I grew up in Ramsey, New Jersey. I went to Ramapo College and graduated from there. For the past 5 years, I've worked for Health Monitor. It's a company in Montvale, New Jersey, and I manage a team of service people across the East Coast. I'm the Chief Compliance Officer and the Chief Operations Officer at Kusalicare. And before we move forward, we want to tell you what Kusala means, because a lot of people do ask that, as it is our company name. So Kusala means skillful and wholesome. It is a Buddhist term, and it's something that we really connect with cannabis, to say that we want to cultivate cannabis with skill, wholesomely, and we thought that it would be the best to encapsulate our brand name.
Yeah, so it also can be translated as abstaining from any type of action that obstructs your spiritual or personal growth, and we hope to really drive that message forward with our business. Now, Wendy, would you mind please, next slide? Thank you.
Soil is the mother of all mothers. Keeping the soil alive and passing it on that way to future generations is the way to know the power of motherhood. This is a quote by Sadhguru. He is a yogi, spiritual teacher, as well as the leader of the Save Soil movement. This is a movement centered around the regeneration of Earth's soil, which is a very vital part to human life. Kusala Care, obviously, we are growing plants in soil, so we very much connect with this movement and the principles behind it.
Thank you. So the 3 questions we hope to answer tonight are, what does Kusala Care do? How is Kusala Care beneficial to Oakland? And what are the risks? So please move next slide. So we'll hope that we don't leave you with too many questions tonight after this presentation. We cultivate cannabis with intention, virtuous principles, and skill, in line with the idea of Kusala. And I'm sure your eyes are drawn to that picture over there, the microbial loop. So the microbial loop is explaining basically what is happening in our soil. There's a whole life and universe down there that's happening that we're not aware of. And so a lot of people compare the soil microbiome to our stomach's microbiome. I'm sure we've heard of probiotics. They're kind of a buzzword nowadays, you know, taking care of your gut bacteria and your gut health. So the soil also has a microbiome that we have to take care of in order to sustain the life that produces all our food and all our consumables. And so in this picture here, a plant has roots. A plant releases exudates, which are sugars and proteins. And soil is full of a nice diverse soil is full of bacteria and fungi. And those bacteria and fungi consume those plant exudates. And in turn, there are protozoa, microorganisms, and microanimals that consume these bacteria and fungi, and in turn produce plant-available nutrients for the roots to uptake, causing a cyclical microbial loop that sustains life and provides nutrients for plants. And this is how Mother Nature has intended for plants to grow. But we, over the years, over the last few decades, we have relied on salt-based synthetic fertilizers that have destroyed this microbial biodiversity in our soil. And we really want to use Kusala Care to educate people about this situation that's happening in our soil that's turning soil into dirt. So soil has life, dirt doesn't, and we're going to be using this microbial system to use a regenerative living soil system that can be reused over and over. It's the most sustainable way to grow cannabis indoors. And we're going to be using organic inputs like kelp meal, alfalfa meal. You might have heard of some of these things, just things you can pronounce. And we're going to not only be focused on the most natural way of producing this plant, but we're also trying to advance cannabis genetics and scientific understanding. We're going to be doing this with the most efficient technology available, LED lights, the most efficient HVAC, and the most industry-leading odor mitigation technology. So we really hope to be able to do all this and be an epicenter of development in Oakland.
So our next point is a little bit more technical of what is Kusala Care. So Kusala Care, we are a micro business. This means we have 2,500 square feet or less of flowering space. We have 10 employees or less, and 51% of the employees or owners need to be living in the town of Oakland or a directly bordering town. This is a requirement.
Say that one.
51%, yeah, 51% of the owners and employees need to live in the town or a directly bordering town.
Well, that's our ordinance.
It's required.
Right.
Yes. So we are happy to say that we're projected to satisfy 100% of that requirement. All of our projected employees currently do live in Oakland or a directly bordering town. We are also a social equity business. This means that 51% of the owners have had prior entanglements with cannabis law. I'm also happy to say that we satisfy 100% of that requirement. Justin and I are 50% owners, and we both suffered cannabis convictions in the past. We are very, very thankful that New Jersey has put in these priorities and allowed us to have this social equity status. So what we want to do is pass that on and also provide employment opportunities to other cannabis convicts as well as minorities. Kusalicare, also being a micro business, we really have deep-rooted small business values. And what we want to do is collaborate with and form relations with other micro businesses, whether that be cannabis dispensaries, cannabis delivery services, or manufacturers. We really want to partner with the other micro businesses.
Yeah, so our dad said that, getting arrested would ruin our lives, but it ended up pretty okay, so.
Next slide.
Thank you.
So one thing that Kusalicare, as Justin mentioned before, wants to do is really educate the public on cannabis and destigmatize some of the negative things that surround it. Some things that we plan to do are online videos, podcasts, maintaining a positive social media presence. We also want to do things in person, as well as seminars and talks, so we can better connect with the community on regenerative agriculture.
So the three main points that we want to educate about are cannabis science, cannabis etiquette, and organic regenerative agriculture, most importantly. And so my background in education is with jiu-jitsu. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Silver Fox Jiu-Jitsu. It's a world-accredited jiu-jitsu academy in Saddlebrook and Butler, New Jersey, and I teach the kids program there. And I've been doing that for about 2 years now, and previous to that at another school for 2 years. So I have a passion for education. I have a passion for teaching kids and the youth. And my start of my plant interest was actually in 5th grade when I learned about carnivorous plants. So I have been studying about plants since 4th, 5th grade. I actually found out about cannabis in 8th grade and was very interested in the plant even before consuming it. So I've been really studying, I've been enamored with the plant since 8th grade, and I hope to educate the public more about it. And I think that through understanding we can kind of quell the fears of the public, and a lot of people I think just don't understand, and I think through misunderstanding a lot of fear comes out of things, and I think we can agree that with anything, the more you understand it, the less you fear it. With cannabis etiquette, we're trying to, it's kind of like table manners. You wouldn't go, you wouldn't serve your friend a beer in a cup that hasn't been washed in 7 days and it's been used and dirty. But a lot of cannabis people are consuming their medicine or their recreational consumables like that, and we want to use this plant to optimize our quality of life rather than, it kind of has a bad connotation, and we're really trying to normalize and destigmatize it. So another important part of cannabis etiquette is safely navigating the legal landscape. We don't want people consuming in public parks or just walking the street, messing up public airspace. Questions like, how long after consuming am I allowed to drive? So that is a varying answer between individuals and between states. For example, California says 6 hours after smoking, 8 hours after consuming an edible. So I'm not sure how New Jersey is going to, really stamp that down, but we hope to educate people and stay up to date on all those things. And so the organic regenerative agriculture, like I said, is one of the main points that we want to drive home with our business, and hope to educate whoever is aware of our business about how important organic regenerative agriculture really is. And so some scientists say we have maybe 30, 40 harvests left in American soil if we continue with these synthetic salt-based regimens that we are currently using. And the only way to reverse that would be to focus back on the organic regenerative techniques that our ancestors have been using forever. So, thank you.
So the next question we would like to answer is, how is Kusalicare beneficial to Oakland? So the first point we have is, Oakland may enter the cannabis space with diminished risks. As I mentioned before, we are a micro business taking up 2,500 square feet of flowering space. In New Jersey, the highest license you can get is 150,000 square feet of flowering space. So compared to this, we're a drop in the water. We believe with our smaller facility, the risk and severity of any issues that may pop up will be a lot smaller and diminished compared to these larger facilities. We are also a cultivation business, so we don't have a public-facing front compared to a dispensary or a delivery service. We're not going to have any customers or traffic surrounding our facility. We have local owners and employees. Justin and I have recently moved to Oakland. We're actually right on Benear Street.
Oh, we should have said that in the beginning. We're
Yeah.
7 Benear Street.
7 Benear Street. And as I mentioned, many of our employees are around here, so we're within a 5-minute drive of the facility. If anything were to come up after hours or on a weekend, we'd be able to be there very quickly.
And so we were excited when we heard that Oakland has a sustainable green team, and we want to congratulate them on being silver certified this year. And so we were actually going to do a community garden. We were going to suggest that to Oakland. Turns out they beat us to it. So we would love to donate our time, supplies, money, however, we would love to be involved. So the Green Fair. Is anyone from the Oakland Green team here? No, I think someone was here last time from the Oakland Green team, though.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yes,
no, we would love to be involved. Yeah, with the Oakland Green team, it's a movement that we are, we had similar ideas behind. And with that, we would offer educational seminars to the public about gardening practices, organic regenerative agriculture, soil science, home gardening, just how to be more sustainable in our own lives. And collaborate and propose new ideas, organize community cleanups. We already wanted to organize community cleanups in Oakland and surrounding towns, but we think that it could be exponentially more successful if we collaborate with the Green Team. Opens Oakland to a developing industry. Obviously, this cannabis industry is it's a multi-million-dollar industry projected in New Jersey. I believe in 2022, it was $625 million to $775 million projected for the year of 2022. And no small businesses are open yet, so that was all to the existing infrastructures that were already here, like the medical facilities, basically. But we hope to be operational in 2023, with the blessing of Oakland, and hope to be a significant source of tax revenue for the town. Thank you.
So the last question we are going to address is, what are the risks? So the first risk we have is odor. As you may know, cannabis does have a skunky type odor that some people do not like. So we have different things that we have put in place that are going to mitigate the smell. The first thing is we're going to negatively pressurize our space. So how to explain this? You may have been to a grocery store or a gas station and you go to pull on the entrance door and it has some pressure pulling back at you. That's the negative air pressure. As the diagram shows, outside air rushes in to balance out the pressure difference. So we're going to be doing this so that no air is leaking out, no smelly air is leaking out of the building. By implementing this, we can direct all of the air to one exhaust that is heavily filtered with carbon filters. Carbon filters, you may be familiar in your home air purifier. It's a material that can absorb 99% of organic materials that would contain the smell. Additionally, our individual rooms will be airtight and closed-loop sealed. The HVAC systems in these rooms will also have carbon filters, so any air that may possibly escape there will also be filtered, removing any smell. Also, our proposed location is 27 Muller Road. We are right at the top of the hill. We are isolated from any residential areas, and the elevation also could help dissipate any possible smell. Another risk that comes up is security. Cannabis, as it is a new industry, has a lot of attention on it. So to mitigate any security issues, we are going to have cameras and alarm systems active 24/7. These are high-definition cameras that can also record audio. We're also going to have secure locks on all the rooms. Justin and I will be the only people that have access to these individual rooms, so we will always be there during operational hours, creating another barrier into the rooms that contain cannabis.
What are your operational hours?
Monday
through Friday?
So
Yeah, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, Monday through Friday. This is slight, it's in the air right now because of our power capacities. We're not sure if we can operate at the same time as everyone else, so we might have to push it more towards nighttime, maybe 5 to 11, 5 to 12, something like that. So we're still figuring out if we're gonna upgrade the building and be able to operate at the same time as everyone else, or just shift our hours a little later. And
Security, are you going to have security guards also?
yes, we do have security personnel on site during the hours of operation, and then the security cameras and alarm system would be active during non-operational hours. Does anyone else have any other questions about security? So nuisance. Nuisance would be just any other miscellaneous things that, that we might think of. So smaller scale equipment, like George mentioned, we're a lot smaller than all these other cultivation facilities happening in New Jersey right now. So we're very lucky that New Jersey has offered this micro-business opportunity for us. So small scale equipment obviously reduces the severity and probability of anything going wrong. And on the job training, we are going to have very strict standard operating procedures and protocols that we will definitely be adhering to religiously. And all the employees involved, it's a small team, it's going to be maybe 5 or 6 people during operational hours. They will all be intensely trained in person to adhere to all the protocols and standard operating procedures, and there will be no behavioral or noise complaints from our operations. It's a small team, we're going to be tight-knit, and everyone is going to be on the same page about how to do things. Clear labeling systems in all areas, all the doors will be labeled, flower room 1, 2, 3, all the tools will be labeled, all the nutrients, amendments, everything is going to be organized so that the workflow is optimized and the organization is optimized.
About the building, I know Councilman Pignatelli went, I don't know who you went with, but we went on a tour of medical marijuana down in Maplewood. Was it Maplewood?
Oh, Maplewood.
Orchard, sir.
And you're not allowed to show on the front of the building that there was no signage or anything. Is that the way it is now?
Yes. It's
Yes.
just blank, yeah,
It's
exactly.
just a blank building, right?
Yeah, so
No
I
signage, no advertising.
No,
I
we
bel-
may have to put a text, just Kusala Care, no colors
Right.
or anything that
But
for
you
mail
can't advertise what
purposes.
you're doing.
No, it's not gonna say cannabis, no.
Yeah,
It'll
and
just say the business
I don't
name.
even believe in the front side we're gonna have a sign for Kusala Care, it's just a door for shipping purposes.
We have no
Because-
reason to.
Yeah, so the building isn't set up to have different, units. So the only way that the post people are gonna be able to deliver our packages is if we have some sort of text on our door with our business name. So that's the only type of identification on the building that it'll have.
So you're, just so I'm clear, so you will be delivering to residents Oakland and surrounding towns, so you're in a delivery business?
No, so we're just cultivation. So the
So
way
just
that it works
cultivation.
is cultivation, delivery, so these are all separate licenses.
Yep.
Cultivation, delivery, wholesale, retail, and then producers or manufacturers. So the manufacturers make, edibles and things like that. And then, so we can either wholesale to those delivery people, the wholesalers, manufacturers, or the.
Straight to the
Or
dispensary.
straight to the retail. But we cannot do, straight to consumers, it cannot happen,
Okay,
according to the law.
thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And in violation of our ordinance.
Yes,
Everything,
you're-
violation of,
yeah,
yeah. of
You allow
course.
not only non-retail.
Yeah, so it'll be completely, the way that it's transported is with they even have a transporting license, so we can hire someone to transport it for us to the, designated location or the designated business. And it's all very.
So you'll have access right onto 287?
Yeah, the highway's like 2 minutes.
No, you won't have to come through town.
No,
Oh, no, yeah, that's
no,
true.
No, and
We're
it was,
right there.
I didn't think of that, but yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for helping our, yeah.
Well,
case.
You're a micro business.
Yes.
How much do you expect to produce? How much product do you expect to produce?
Each harvest is estimated around 60 pounds, so we're gonna have, I believe, estimated 3.5 times 4, a little less than 10 harvests a year, so 600 pounds a year. And some of these other
questions when you're
And how long did it take to have a harvest happen?
every season,
Every season?
yeah,
Okay.
every season. So we're trying to have a harvest every 4 years, but we have
4
3
months.
or every 3 months, yeah. But it's going to be 3 flower rooms, so they're going to be separated and designated. If you see those green and brown circles, those are our 3 flowering rooms, and they'll be perpetually harvested, so that each room will be able to be harvested 3 or 4 times a year. So in total, it would be 10 to 12 harvests, 9 to 12 harvests.
I have a couple questions, Mayor. We'd like to see all businesses prosper in Oakland. What type of research or experience do either of you have in running a business?
In running a business, I've been running it's more online, but it's been a cannabis influencing and blogging business, basically. It is profitable. It's been my main source of income for the last 5 years.
But I mean, you haven't worked at any facility in some other state
Oh,
that gives you the knowledge on how to run it?
Yes, sir. I was just about to say. In Maine, I was an intern for Beyond Organics. It's a licensed company up in Maine, and I interned there from the summer of 2018 to 2020. So both summers I went up there and helped my friend. He runs it by himself, so he always needs an extra hand. It's very different rules than New Jersey, but the actual process of the cultivation and the processing and everything is the
But
exact
you have
same.
no experience in running any other business?
So I'm currently a manager at a company at Health Monitor Network. I've been there for about 5 years, and it is a smaller company where people wear many hats. So although I'm on the service team, I've also been on the sales team. I've also worked with the IT department. I've also worked with recruiting, doing the hiring.
But you have not run a business before?
I mean, I do have. It's a licensed CBD business as well. So it's a smaller scale business. I do it at home, and I do produce a CBD topical, and that is online. I sell it in person, and it's a.
But this is more of like a manufacturing operation. I mean, I worked in retailing, but I never worked in wholesaling. So
Right.
this is a different type of business. Anyway, what is your projected revenue?
The projected revenue for the first year is, I believe George can.
So for the first year, it's a little bit different because of all the expenses and operational costs. But once we're up and running, we should hopefully be making 1.5 million in a year.
A year?
That's gross,
That's gross.
That's gross.
and we get 2%.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, listen,
It's no, it's not a bad incentive to
that's
approve
before,
us.
that's before expenses, it's gross, not net.
And do you already have clients? Do you have a client base? In other words, do you have a list of 20 people that are going to buy your product?
Yes, sir. So like I was saying, I've been very involved in the cannabis community in New Jersey for the last 5 years with the blogging and the influencing social media presence. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that is kind of where the community is. That is the main community and where people converse and connect. So I do have, I've basically, I know everyone in the industry, and the head grower of TerraSend is one of my best friends, and he is the regional manager of the Northeast. He takes care of Maryland, he takes care of New Jersey and PA.
Listen, Terracin, that's the big one here.
TerraSend's the biggest one.
I know you were saying projected 600 pounds a year?
Yes, sir.
I guess you're going to sell it all. I mean, but do you
The
store
supply-
it if you don't? I mean, is
Yes,
there?
sir. So we have the vault room in the corner, but also we're very, very hopeful because New Jersey said that there is a projected, I think it was 1 million pounds plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a huge shortage of supply, and the demand is overwhelming, and they're trying to rush cultivators to get approved just so they can kind of balance out the supply. And this cannabis is my life. I'll be honest. I love it, and it's not just the consuming of it that I love. I really do love the plant, and I might not have as much, official business experience as you guys might view valuable, but running the cannabis influencing and blogging thing, it has given me a lot of experience with marketing and management. I do have people working under me. I have a complete organizational structure and standard operating procedures for this business. So I do have some business experience. It's not the traditional, I guess, like a brick and mortar or anything like that.
So you have to bring your own water in, correct?
Yeah, so that was actually.
I saw it here, it uses less water,
Yes.
I understand, but you didn't say where you're getting the water from. And how you bringing it to your facility.
Yes, sir.
And how are you going to distribute it in your facility? Are you going to have a holding tank that you're going to have a purveyor bring to, deposit in a holding tank, and then you're going to use that holding tank to water your plants?
Yes, so we wanted to address that in the next slide. Okay, so water, like we were talking about with the regenerative soil system, I think typically most cannabis facilities that you will see in New Jersey, every single one actually, we will be one of the first in New Jersey to use a regenerative soil system. And
Many other ones are hydroponic or
yeah, so every single
aquaponic.
other one you will see is hydroponic, aquaponic, or deep water culture, and those are very, very irrigation intensive. They require hundreds of thousands of gallons.
And yours
per
is
year.
not, why?
And we are not doing that system because
Why?
because it produces superior cannabis in quality. It is better for the environment. It's a bigger initial upfront cost.
But you do have to bring water in.
So we actually put a waiver in. I'm not sure if you got if the council saw it. But
Because we don't want to overburden
exactly.
our water system.
Exactly.
With your facility that uses a lot of water.
Exactly. So that's why we actually put this in the presentation. We wanted to hopefully quell your fears about that, because we are going to be doing a soil system that requires, so if we have, let's say, a 4x8 bed, right? That has 360 gallons of soil. Weekly, that needs 5 to 10% water to maintain optimal moisture levels. And this condensate recycling plan that George put together, he's the computer whiz, you can explain it.
So yeah, like Justin was saying, the hydroponic the plant is grown all in water. So ours is using soil as a medium instead of water. We've calculated exactly how much water we need to keep the soil at an optimal moisture level. So that would be, the left column shows 540 gallons at a low and 1,080 gallons at a high. So we can just do the average. We would probably need 810 gallons needed for our 3 flowering rooms a week. The plants don't use all of the water. A lot of it gets evaporated into the air. So we'll have dehumidifiers capturing all of the water. We average that they'll capture about 75% of that water. What we're going to do is take that water, run it through a multi-stage filter and UV filtering, and replenish our water tanks with this water. If we capture 75% of the water, we will only need to supplement, of the 810 gallons, 203 gallons on average from the Oakland water supply.
A week.
So after the first watering, every consecutive watering is going to only need 203. Over the course of a year, that comes to, on average, 10,556 gallons of water. If you compare that to the human consumption, so the normal human uses about 60 gallons of water a day, and that's on the low side. Over the course of a year, that comes to about 22,000 gallons of water. We'll be using half that amount for our 3 flowering rooms.
And you said you're applying for a waiver from what?
From the
ordinance.
From the
Mayor,
ordinance.
If I can, that was something that they addressed when they filed their application. This is new to all of us who said, well, file a waiver request with your application materials, so it's something that can be considered. I don't know if it's anything that needs to be decided tonight in terms of the endorsement. It is something that we would have to work out, in terms of granting the final license, and perhaps that's something that Ron can comment on as
I don't
well.
think a waiver is permitted in our ordinance.
Well, again, because it's all new. We said file it and we'll talk about it.
That's what he just said.
But he said, I thought you said last meeting that you needed a decision by December.
For the
Our state-
support of the license,
Yeah,
but
so-
not necessarily the water ordinance.
Yeah, the water ordinance we can figure out later, but the letter of support from the town is what we would be focused on. And if we do come to the conclusion that we do need to ship in the water, obviously we'll comply with what the town wants. But George put the condensate recycling plan together just to try to illustrate that we don't use much water at all. Like,
Okay.
it's really not as intensive as it might seem. I know we're an agricultural business, and it seems like we're gonna be using a lot of water, but it's very common in cannabis facilities to attempt to be closed loop, and that means water, inputs, everything basically staying within the facility and not having to buy any type of outside resources to maintain and run it. So we're aiming for that. And
So I know, I attended the seminars in Atlantic City. Now, as far as enforcement goes, we would ask the state to enforce, but I think they only have 4 inspectors for the entire state.
Ron, why don't you help us out here?
Yeah, the
Well,
state,
actually, I have a question for the borough attorney.
Which attorney?
Our borough attorney.
Our borough attorney.
In terms
You
of
have so many
ordinance,
attorneys here, John.
in terms of ordinances, Brian, at this time of year, would we be able to even pass an ordinance at all this year?
We have enough time this year.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, would you answer my question, or,
yeah, there's no way, the state will do an on-site inspection once.
Yeah.
And then the remaining enforcement will fall upon the borough. Hence, you may want to work out some type of host community agreement so the taxpayers aren't footing the bill.
yeah, yeah,
One last point I would also wanted to make about the water compared to a hydroponic system. The hydroponic systems that are using the synthetic salts are having to dispel that water into the sewer after the end of each harvest. Since we've calculated how much water we need, these beds are not going to be draining. It's not like a flower pot with holes at the bottom. These are beds that will take the water, the water that we've calculated, and not drip anything through the bottom. So nothing is being wasted or dispelled into the sewer.
Yeah, so
yeah. I would like our noted attorney.
Which one?
I've never been called noted before.
I know, that's why I was surprised.
Notable attorney to answer one of my questions. Are they in full compliance with the rules and regulations of the state and our local ordinance? Or will they be?
Yeah, so with the exception of, I guess, this water component, the answer is yes. These guys are
Okay.
a micro business. They've indicated in their plans that maybe in a couple of years they want to expand. And
Okay.
after a year, if they can prove that demand far exceeds supply, it is
Sure.
correct.
Mhm.
It does, until, of course, it comes off the federal controlled dangerous substance list, but that's 8 years down the road. But absolutely, they'll be able to convert from this micro to what they propose is a 10,000 square foot facility. So I applaud these two gentlemen. I mean, this is exactly the type of folks that have been disparaged, affected by the war on drugs, and they're trying to create this business, this micro business. So,
Okay, thank you.
I have a question on that. So if you go
I'm
from
done.
micro to a larger unit, do you have to reapply? Does the license change? Because we're approving a micro license. So if you change and go to a bigger facility, do you have to reapply for a license?
yes, sir, we do have to reapply, and actually, our plans actually changed a little bit from going to a 10,000 square foot that we wanted to expand our current facility at Dewey Electronics to manufacturing. So it would just be a small expansion, maybe 3 extra rooms, less than 1,500 square feet.
But you have to come back.
But you have to come back.
Yes, we'd have to come back for
Yeah, it would be
approval of
separate.
The
that.
same process again. You
Of
can't do it
course.
without approval from the borough or.
Exactly.
Yeah, the state
Yes,
would
sir.
want some
Exactly.
type of, support.
That was the question. Are there regulations?
We basically need
Alter
permission to
license?
do anything. Like, we need permission from the state and the council to do basically anything.
And an important factor is you have the facility.
We've been eating rent for 3 or 4 months now.
Okay.
It's not, yeah, it hasn't been easy, but
I
yeah,
hope it's
we're,
subject to.
When do you plan to be in full operation?
we hoped February of 2023.
Okay,
It's looking more like April now.
okay.
Any other questions?
Can you talk a little bit about the odor control, specifically the filtering, and what's involved with how often you have to change out the filters, and maintenance is required?
Yes, sir.
In case there's a complaint, how do we deal with that?
So we are going to be changing out the carbon filters every 3 months after every harvest. And they will be, the requirement is every 6 months, but in order to maximize efficiency, we're going to be requiring them every 3 months. And there will also be, like George said, the negatively pressurized space so that all the air is very controlled within our facility and exhausted out one specific direction that is also carbon filtered. And that carbon filter will also be changed every 3 months.
May I jump in very quickly? So this odor situation, it's not just HVAC, it's science. And I think they've got a great setup. However, if there's a problem, they have to understand that they may have to send some folks in with white lab coats to measure the terpenes in the air and how many plants that they have, and they may have to increase the equipment that they're using, and I'm sure they would agree to something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, we're here to satisfy the council, and we don't want to do anything that would upset the state or the town. And we want to be more permanent fixtures of Oakland. We really love the town, and we were actually considering buying 7 Veneer eventually, once that allows.
So
Oh, but
that-
your residents?
We're renting
Oh,
right
you're
now.
renting.
Yeah, we're renting right now.
So that begs the question, which the attorney was talking about, if there is an odor complaint, obviously, your statement was the town would have to hire somebody, or somebody has to go up and investigate this, and there's a burden on the taxpayer. Could you kind of just walk us through that in case there's a
No, the
problem?
applicant's gonna have to do
Yeah,
that.
that would be awesome.
That's gonna be part of either a host community agreement or
Okay.
something, licensing, where these folks come in, they measure the terpenes and say, you know what, you need scrubbers and X, Y, and Z equipment, which could be very, very expensive.
And is that currently
just-
set up with professionals in the state
I'm
that
sorry,
can
but
do
what is
that?
it, I don't know.
A terpene is-
Terpene, how you measure
So a
terpenes?
terpene is, if you smell a rose, you smell a mango, you smell any type of plant. Terpenes are what cause that specific smell. So we
Got it.
have lavender causes linalool, and pine trees cause pinene. These terpenes are, cannabis is the only plant that you can selectively breed to smell like an orange, or like a lemon, or like a skunk, so it's a very special plant that so the terpenes are kind of the key in the medicinal effects of it, depending on the terpene profile that is responsible for the effects of the
I'm
consumer.
sorry, I just didn't know.
No, it's okay. Not many people know what terpenes are.
So that begs another question for the attorney. Let's say there is
Which
a
attorney?
the cannabis.
Ron, why don't
attorney.
you just stand up?
Okay, guys,
This is a very expensive night.
He stood up like twice, yeah.
they're paying for it, though. The way it should be.
But you're representing us.
So
It's called escrow, right?
So what role does the New Jersey DEP have in this in case there is
None.
a scent or a smell that requires investigation?
None.
None.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, so what does the Cannabis Commission then have? What kind of oversight do they have over this?
Nothing.
So then my question is, that let's say there is an odor or smell and the town says you need to investigate, and the guys with the lab coats go out there, and I'm sure is there an organization of
Dozens.
professionals that do this currently?
Yeah.
And they render some type of report that said, yes, you've exceeded it. What does the town have to be able to, can we shut them down and say, till you fix this? Do they get fined? How do we work through an issue like this?
Well, you can do that, but these gentlemen have indicated that if there's a problem, they will spend the money to fix it. And it can be fixed. They may have to add more air scrubbers or additional scrubbers, whatever the equipment may be, it can be fixed.
What happens if they don't fix it, Ron? What happens if there's no money, they're going broke? What happens in that?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, if you get enough complaints, and I'm glad to hear that this is not in an area where there are a lot of residences, and if it is higher, that those odors will tend to float up as opposed to drop down, you certainly could shut them down and say, we can't have this.
Can you or could odors be prosecuted under the Public Health Nuisance Code, or that won't apply?
Yeah, the problem is we don't have a standard.
I mean, it used to be any matter, condition, act, or thing,
Yeah.
but that doesn't
It's
hold
very
water anymore.
difficult to prosecute that.
Yeah,
There's no standard as to, wow, this is really bad.
yeah.
Harmony had problems in Sea Caucus, and they fixed it.
Yeah, I believe Harmony was shut down for a little bit, and they got fined.
So, is the license to them granted by the municipality or by the state?
Both. Typically,
So
you
does-
have a local licensing scheme, so they will get the license from the state and then ultimately get their license from the borough once
So-
they check all the
So what
boxes.
I'm saying, as far as enforcement, and I'm not looking to shut you down, believe me. I'm just trying to get it all straight in my mind.
Sure, of course.
So, like for a retail food license, if the Board of Health rescinds their food license, they must close down. So here, if they're not in compliance, could we rescind our local license and then have them close?
Yeah, I think that would be obviously the last means that you would
Yeah,
take, a
yeah,
warning, and we'll give you
absolutely.
30 days to
After
fix
due
this.
process, absolutely.
A hearing.
I'm just looking
Absolutely.
the big picture because,
If we just say, if we ignore you just for 3 months, we don't
Yeah.
talk about it, yeah, absolutely, but
Yeah.
we really do want to be,
I know,
we want
I
to
know.
work with you guys, be
And
transparent.
one of the reasons I've asked, because I was a health officer, I've done a lot of inspection, a lot of prosecutions. I just want to know what we can use and what we can't use. So if we could use the revocation of a local license, ultimately, obviously, again, you want to give everybody due process and time to, et cetera, et cetera. But there are recalcitrants that don't comply, and ultimately, you need the final, way to solve the problem.
We are building the plane while we are flying it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
As I
Well, give me a parachute then. Give me a parachute.
Analogy. That's an amazing analogy.
So we are building the plane as we're flying.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
If the rules change and we already grant a license, is that grandfathered in, or does that license comply with the rule change? Are we not there yet?
So are you referring to state regulations or borough
Yes.
ordinances?
Both.
I think it would be patently unfair if it changed drastically. They would be grandfathered in, and I would turn to Brian for something as to that, but they would be grandfathered in.
As in all laws and licenses and.
Yeah, I mean, retroactivity of a law is rare.
Only if they're gonna tax you.
I mean, they may increase the percentage.
You cannot increase the percentage, but you can enter into a host community agreement. We've discussed this, because the taxpayers should not have to pay for the CFO who's going to audit this business to figure out if the 2% is accurate. The taxpayers should not have to pay for the folks that are going out there, your code construction officials, the zoning officers, to make sure they're in compliance. That should be, those municipal incurred expenses should be reimbursed.
Yes, absolutely. It's just like applying before the planning board or board of adjustment, where you have to have a fee to apply to the board. Same thing.
Typically, it's called a green tax, yeah, so like any type
Which
of...
is an ordinance tonight.
I'm sorry?
Which is an ordinance.
Tonight, correct.
Right, not the planning
It
board.
is.
So, just another question. So let's say with the Board of Health, let's say the restaurant's not in compliance, it gets brought in front of the Board of Health, and you've got the members of the committee there and professionals, and they make a determination. How do we deal with something like this? If there's, let's say, odor or I don't even know what kind of issues we can run into with this cannabis business. I mean, how do we oversee this or help?
Well, we have to
What happens
designate
with a
who the
complaint?
enforcement official is.
Is that you?
But do we have an enforcement official?
No, we would designate who the enforcing official is.
Well,
Correct or not? Am I
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you could send out whoever.
You can send the health inspector, you can send the zoning officer,
And
whoever
the
you
trigger would be
designate.
the complaints.
Correct.
If there's no complaints,
Yeah.
everything's copacetic.
That's
Right,
basically, yeah, that's
but-
basically what we
It's
do.
going to depend on the nature of the specific nature of the complaint, whether it's zoning or property maintenance or health. We already have those sort of quality of life enforcement mechanisms in place, and we would utilize those resources available to us.
Let's say that we approve this, is there a way to, let's say if the governing body approve and say, okay, well, let's see what happens in the next six months. If there's no issues, no problems, and then say, okay, fine, let's make this license, official across the board. I mean, is that an option to us, since we're all, like you said, we're building the plane here, and we're not quite sure what we're getting into?
Like a provisional,
They won't be ready for
conditional?
6 months.
No.
If that's the way you want to draft the ordinance, I mean, the reason the statute passed, this, decrim statute, and the CREMA statute, is because you have home rule, okay? Where else, what other business do you get 2% of their gross sales from? It's not like any other business. It's highly regulated, so you can do that. I would suggest that, and we'll speak to the engineer, but the planning board could probably answer many of these questions and make sure that this stuff is part of a resolution, because they have to go to the planning board.
Condition of approval.
We're working with Mitsubishi right now, Mitsubishi Train, and they have HVAC professionals who maybe could talk to someone on the council and comfort their concerns, because that is one of the main things that we're shoving a lot of money into, because we realize we have an office building right above us where it's going to be a few feet away from people we have to be very, very careful about it, and we realize that that has been the #1 complaint about anyone in the industry in New Jersey. I have a lot of grower friends, or they're working at a facility, and they say that they get constant complaints, they get fined all the time. A lot of these bigger MSOs are able to handle these fines, so they don't fix it. They just,
Sure,
they keep
sure,
the fines,
sure.
you know what I mean? But we can't handle the fines,
No,
so
right.
we're gonna fix it.
What I would hope,
So let's just.
what I would hope also is that before you open, or just prior to opening, can't see why you would object to this. Invite the council to come up and tour the facility, maybe
Please. Oh, we
bring
love that. We
our
love
chief of
that.
police and one of his officers and, whoever we designate as the enforcing official.
We love that.
Just so that you can put a face to name and,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Please.
And because we represent the people of the town and the people are gonna come to us.
course.
Come call the mayor, right, Mayor? I mean,
Oh, they call me all the
oh, we
time.
call her all the
They're not-
time. So,
they're not-
I mean, I think if we can be familiar with the facility and familiar with your security and your abatement rule or whatever, it just acts as a good,
Good faith,
relationship.
absolutely.
And, one of the things they're gonna need is a generator. I know they spoke about noise, that, just the HVAC, but you're gonna need a generator. If something goes down, how are you gonna get rid of the odors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The one thing I learned about the webinar that I participated in is that you only have a temporary license until the borough, correct?
It's a conditional
It's
license.
a conditional
and then
until the borough,
That'll switch it into the full license.
right. Right now, you really don't have a real license.
No, we have like a 50% license.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I just asked the attorney to explain, because eventually, let's say this passes, now you move forward, you get your license from the state. We still have to work out the conditions between your business and the borough. And we'll be going from the planning board, it's almost like a contract between us and you. This is not the contract, this is only allowing you to go forward with the state
With
and
the
get a
state.
license.
Yes.
So, did I explain that correct,
That's
what this
correct.
resolution is?
Okay, that's
I wanted to
great.
simplify it so everybody understands. This is not the contract between us and them. This allows them to go and get the license.
Oh, okay,
That's all this does.
okay.
It allows them
See,
to
4 hours later
convert.
from that webinar.
To convert from a conditional license to an annual license. And in fact, I spoke to George probably a dozen times, and he was kind enough to share the SOPs, which I read, and he didn't have to share those with me because it's not required as a conditional license holder.
Well, you said you had some
Annual?
questions too.
Annual license?
Yes, in order to convert.
Every year?
Yeah,
I believe annual license is good for 5 years.
once, no, every
an
year.
annual
they-
means once a year.
They'll have to renew every year,
We have
but
to
I'll
renew.
get it. And same thing here, they'll renew every year.
With us
yeah,
also.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not that clear. I have to disagree with my colleagues. It's not that clear. This is a whole brand-new area of law. There's detrimental reliance. I'm litigating now in South Jersey on an annual license for a gym. The gym was closed down during the during COVID and the pandemic. And under the emergency health rule, and it was closed down by the department. And everyone knows these guys defied the order. And we're in the appellate division right now. And so as it relates specifically to this issue, an annual license doesn't mean they come forward and unless there's a really good reason, we would be obligated to give them that license. That's what I learned from my case. So it's not, and particularly with this area where it's untested, I wouldn't be so quick to conclude that, well, it's not that big a deal. Once they convert to a license, there are lots of defenses a licensee would have against the licensor. Just be advised of that, without getting into the briefs that I've spent 6 months writing.
All right. So, we have a resolution.
Well,
Any more
I-
questions?
Yes, the attorney, I thought you said you had some questions.
I think some of them have been answered. They had indicated that they were going to either apply for a manufacturing license or expand to a 10,000. You said you were going to do that, right? You were going to seek a manufacturing. These are the only two classes of licenses that can coexist, a cultivation and a manufacturing. They can't have something else like a dispensary.
But they can't do manufacturing without getting another license.
Exactly.
Correct. The other thing is they indicated in their certificate of formation that they are organic, small batch, craft, cannabis cultivation, and delivery service. That's incorrect, right?
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
That was
fine.
our misunderstanding, or might have been a typo.
Okay, and the other thing is, I know you had indicated that you were looking for employees that would be residents of Hackensack. That's simply a mistake, right?
That was our previous proposed location.
Yeah, we
I can actually address those, if you guys don't mind. So we did that.
Well, you're the lawyer.
Yeah, but I'm gonna, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
So to those points, the one of the original places of interest was Hackensack,
Right.
and when it was being created, again, to everyone's point, this is sort of you're building the plane as it flies. You have to, when you're doing the application, you have to identify essentially where you want to go, and you have to give some ideas of where you're going to end up. And you don't know where you're going to end up because you still don't have leases, and nobody wants to sign a lease until you know that you're going to get approved. It's really, you got to put a lot of carts before horses. So we're going to file an amendment to the cert of formation to remove the delivery aspect of it. And obviously the Hackensack was just a change after much thought and consideration. And look, we have a lot of these applications. I haven't shown up to a single meeting for anyone because what I've seen through most of our applicants are, look, they're big companies. They're looking at bottom lines. Usually they'll get someone who's got a prior and they'll try to go in through different avenues. I think this is my only applicants who, this is who's gonna run the company. They're funded by their parents who are businessmen and advisors. And these were the two most organic applicants I've had. And I'm not a cannabis person. I'm not a former cannabis lawyer. In fact, I used to yell at everyone in my fraternity who was smoking cannabis because I would have to go to Greek soccer games by myself. So I wasn't the biggest proponent of it, right? But it's a business, I wasn't gonna say no. And having actually listened to them, heard their application, being involved in it, watching their organic means of doing things, I'm like, if there ever was a craft boutique community-based version of what I would find as somewhat of a conservative, acceptable version of cannabis, it was these two. And they've been the comments from other applicants who are in the industry, everybody knows. They are known as, the people who profess organic growth, organic usage, things of that nature. So, I supported that. And that's why I'm here, not as an attorney. I've just liked following their application grow along. And I'm like, it's not one of those, they're not one of those groups that you have, they pick excuse me for any females in the room, they pick a woman because it meets a category, and then that's what they put in front of the state and say, hey, look, we meet your checklist, because they don't come and interview the applicants, right? They just look to see, well, this is what you have, or we have someone from a community-based standard with a prior conviction, where they would actually go out and solicit someone who has that. And then behind them is like 12 people with growth facilities in multiple other states, multiple fields of revenue, and then they just build these massive warehouses, and they burn through water. And I'm kind of an environmentalist myself, right? They burn through water because they grow the marijuana in water as opposed to soil. Their application, their pitch, the organic nature of what they do, it found its way to me actually supporting them beyond just being an attorney. And when they sorted through and they looked at, they felt that Oakland, shared a lot of those same values, specifically with the organizations you guys have implemented, and that's how it went from Hackensack to Oakland. I mean, they were like, yeah, Hackensack's not the town for us.
So two quick questions.
No offense to Hackensack.
Thank you for that. Two quick questions. I know that you've already gotten 4, potentially 5 candidates from Oakland. Have you interviewed them yet? Because I would suggest, instead of this route, if this doesn't pan out, why not have a local job fair here? If you find that there'll be any problems with that, that's something I would suggest. Have a local job fair. The other thing is, any objection to the governing body and yourself negotiating a host community agreement? So some of the things that I've spoken about, these municipal incurred costs as a result of your business, can be recaptured by the borough. Any problems with that? No. Okay. I don't have the concern about their inexperience, because it is a very scaled down, 2,500 square feet is nothing, because it's every single room that touches a plant, from the drying to the mother room and the flowering rooms. So they may probably wind up getting some help, whether it's from somebody that has really spent a lot of time growing, but there's plenty of help out there. I'm not concerned about their inexperience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question also, you had said, Ron, you had said that they're starting out 2,500 square feet right now, and they're going to eventually apply for a 10,000 square foot license.
They retracted that and said that instead of doing that, they were going to apply for a manufacturing, which essentially takes the cannabis plant and turns it into gummies. It's a lot of equipment, but...
Is this in the same facility?
Yes. It would be in the same facility, also micro business capped at 2,500 square feet.
So
And you
that's an
have to apply
additional
for the
2,500
license.
square
That
feet.
would be a separate license.
So our,
Yeah.
yeah, separate license, but our entire facility is 7,300 square feet, and we have partitioned off about 1,500 for the other license.
So I'm just a little confused here. We started out at 2,500 now for growing in the soil. Now we're going to another 2,500 square feet for making gummies or whatever else.
Down the road.
That's their plan.
Down the road.
So the 2,500 right now is the canopy space. So that isn't including the, you know, the trim and processing room or the vault, or basically anything with a live green plant is included in that 2,500 square feet.
But again, if they wanted to expand the manufacturing, they have to do this entire process all over again.
Yeah, we have to do this all
It would be a
over again.
completely separate license, yeah.
Well, I'm not crystal clear on that, because again, the airplane's being built. They simply need to prove to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission that demand far exceeds supply. And if that's the case, they would permit them to expand to Tier 1. But they've already indicated they're not going to do that. They want to stick with manufacturing.
Okay, so, I'm sorry. just-
So the
Let me, I want to ask the question differently. To get a license right now,
Which license? Here or the state?
well, both, right? So, to me, when I say process, they would have to go to expand, they have to go to the process, it comes to the state. Apply the state, it comes through, get our approval again. That's not what you just, that's not the case.
So, to John's point, they probably will be able to get that license from the state if they can prove that demand far exceeds supply. They're gonna come to you, but to his point, and I don't necessarily disagree, you're gonna be hard pressed, as long as they follow what you want them to do, to deny that state license that's already in existence.
Okay, thank you for that
But
clarification.
it's a different license.
It is, the manufacturing is a different one, but the expansion from cultivation from 2,500 a micro to a standard, it's not a different license. It is
Oh, okay,
a
but it
process,
still would be cultivation.
and they said they don't want to
Yes,
do
so
that.
It was an expansion versus applying for a brand-new license.
Got it.
So the
Got it.
expansion, yeah, the expansion, I believe, is just an approval with the state. The manufacturing, we'd have to come back here.
Brand new, that's a whole new ballgame.
Have a
That's what I
beautiful
thought.
new
But there's
PowerPoint for
nothing
you
to
guys.
stop them to go to expand up to 10,000 square feet of cultivation.
As long as they can prove to the CRC that demand far exceeds supply, and they're right, that demand is through the roof and supply is down at the bottom of where my feet are.
To ease any concerns, the reason we decided to go with the manufacturing is our building is 7,300 square feet, and to expand to a 10,000 square foot license and not fully utilize it didn't really make sense.
You put that in the host community agreement that they agree that they will not expand to 10,000 square feet
We
as
will happily
cultivation.
agree to that because
There
it's
you
not
go.
possible in our
That
building.
takes care of that.
Yeah, it's not in our build, it's not possible in our
possible,
building.
yeah.
True, true.
Yeah.
So you tried to set up in Hackensack and you chose Oakland. Why did you choose Oakland?
Oakland, like Nima said, we really did like the, you know, the vibe of Oakland. It's not many, or Jersey towns care about sustainability. Not many trees around anymore, and Oakland, I grew up in Paramus, so it was a little bit more suburban, and this is a little bit more, you know, a little more rural, and when we found out about the Green Team, we were like, okay, maybe this is the town that would kind of vibe with our organic vision, you know.
Plus the distance away from everybody.
Yes.
And it's pretty far, yeah, it's
I mean,
kind of
in
far from
Hackensack,
everyone. We're still in Bergen County, so
Yeah.
it wasn't too far from home.
The
and,
proposed
you know,
location in Hackensack was anybody could drive down that street.
Yeah, and then Nima's office is also in Hackensack, so that was just kind of the first.
That was the first.
That was the
yeah.
first, like, we just expanded from that radius and kind of just went out until we found Oakland.
As far from my office as possible.
Well, any more questions? So now we have a resolution, and this is Resolution 22-290, and it's titled, Resolution in Support of Application for Class 1 Cannabis Cultivation License in the Borough of Oakland. And all the whereases is we adopted Ordinance 22, Code 872, which allows for a limited number of cannabis businesses to be located in specific sections of the borough, which you comply with. The act established the Cannabis Regulatory Commission to oversee such as of August 19, 2021, whereas in order for the cannabis business to operate, both state and local approval are required, and requires the municipality's governing body express its support for a cannabis license applicant through a resolution as from the governing body, and that the support of the resolution should indicate that the proposed cannabis business location is appropriately located or otherwise suitable for activities related to the operations of the proposed cannabis business, and the license application application evaluation committee has received and reviewed the application submitted by Kusala Care LLC, and has recommended that the Borough Council approve its application and adopt a resolution in support of their application for state license. So all this does is support your application for a annual state license, but it does not mean that we don't have a contract yet, we don't have
Planning board approval?
right, we don't have any of that. This is just supporting you to get the state license.
Yes.
So, now therefore be it resolved, these are the 9 conditions. The aforesaid recitals are incorporated herein as though fully set forth at length. 2, the Borough recognizes that Kusala Care LLC will be operating as a Class 1 cannabis cultivation business involved in the cultivation of cannabis products, and that the business location will be 27 Muller Road in Oakland, and if approved by the State of New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. 3, approving Kusala Care LLC application for Class 1 cannabis business license would not exceed the limit established by the Borough for Class 1 cannabis cultivation license located in the Borough. 4, Kusala Care LLC's proposed Class 1 cannabis cultivation business use and location satisfy the Borough zoning and cannabis ordinances. 5, Kusala Care LLC shall continuously comply with this borough's ordinances governing cannabis operations and any future applicable changes that may be made thereto. 6, if Kusala Care LLC is not in compliance at any time with the borough's cannabis ordinances and any future applicable changes thereto, the borough reserves the right to withdraw its support for their operations and suspend or revoke their local license. 7, the borough approves Kusala Care LLC's application submitted to the borough and endorses Kusala Care LLC's application to be submitted to the Commission for Class 1 cannabis cultivation business license at the location in the borough as set forth above, which location is appropriate and suitable for Class 1 Class 1 cannabis cultivation license. 8, the mayor, borough administrator, borough clerk, borough attorney, CFO, and any other necessary official, officer, or employee of the borough may be and they are hereby authorized to execute any and all documents and to make any and all actions necessary to complete and realize the intent and purpose of this resolution. And 9, excuse me, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, point of order.
Yes.
I make a motion that we table this resolution.
Second.
Well, once there's a table, we have to vote.
Yeah, motion to table takes precedence.
All right, is there a vote to table? Sorry. A vote to table. Go ahead, roll call.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman McCann.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
No.
Councilman Saliani.
No.
Councilman Sosinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Motion to table passes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's table, so now what?
So now it has to come off the table, it could be listed on the next agenda.
So with respect to time periods expiring, they certainly could reach out to the CRC, explain the situation, that the borough wants to take another look at this, and if in fact they are not granted another extension, they will simply have to reapply for the license.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Yeah, of
presentation.
course, no, thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you
We
so
really
much.
appreciate it, thank you. So, Mayor, so could we, the next meeting, we could also come back and maybe readdress this, or?
Certainly, if it's on the agenda, they're
We'll
more
put it on
than
the agenda
welcome.
and we'll see what the council decides.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Mayor, can we
Thank you.
take a 5-minute break, recess?
Done?
Yes?
And everybody wanted to, a motion to take a recess?
I'll motion for recess, that's right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're taking a 5-minute recess. Can you turn the TV off? Or, I don't know, I don't know why.
Just out of curiosity, you table the resolution.
is over.
He's so mean. My wife couldn't meet his kids. Well, one kid.
Put it right here.
What's his own? I was rolled up.
All right, we are back. You want a roll call?
Council members Kamala?
Here.
McCann?
Here.
Is here. Pignatelli?
Here.
Saliani?
Here.
Sozinski?
Here.
Palomini?
Here.
And Mayor Schwiger.
Here. We have minutes from the October 26, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Council members Kamala?
Abstain.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Sozinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
We have minutes from the October 26, 2022 executive session. If there's going to be any discussion, and will have to be done during executive session. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Will there be any discussion? If none, roll call.
Council members Kamala?
Abstain.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Sozinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
We have two citizen leadership forms for people, residents who would like to be on committees. The first one is for the Environmental Commission. Joanne Ashkenazi has been sitting and coming to meetings, and everybody thought she was a member of the committee, I'm told. So is there a motion to approve Joanne Ashkenazi for Environmental Commission?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
No.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
No.
Sozinski?
No.
Palomini?
No.
You could still attend the Environmental Commission even though they voted against you, and we welcome your appearances there. Rec Commission is the mayor's appointment, and I am recommending Constance Roy. We have an opening for the Recreation Commission. As you are aware, that unfortunately Sandra Cora has resigned, so she will be taking Sandra's spot.
So moved.
It's mine.
Oh, all right. I'm still good with it.
Okay, so. We have a raffle license. Raffle license 1442, and it is for the PTA, the Midland Park Elementary. It's for a raffle on November 19, 2022. It will be held at the Holiday Bowl. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And now we have resolutions. We'll do it as a consent agenda. If you want any pulled out, just let me know. 22-285, authorize the grant agreement for Bergen County Community Development Block Grant, CDBG CV Phase 3, the Senior Center Furniture. And it is the proposed to using $11,000 towards the Oakland Senior Center furniture. 22-286 is authorized grant submittal to Bergen County Community Development Block Grant CDBG CV Phase 4 for Senior Center Outdoor Furniture, $13,000 towards the Senior Center Outdoor Furniture. Resolution 287, 22-287, award bid for solid waste, recycling, and vegetative waste collection to Suburban Disposal. On September 2022, Oakland received one bid with respect to collection services for solid waste and recyclable materials. The borough has determined to select solid waste alternate 1, which will provide garbage collection twice a week. Oakland has determined to select recycling alternate 1, which will provide commingled collection on alternating weeks. For 2023, the total will be $1,653,000. 2024, $1,701,000. 2025, $1,784,000. 22-288, authorized strategic plan submittal to Bergen County Department of Health Services for fiscal year 24 Municipal Lands Alliance Program. and it is establishing municipal alliances for prevention of alcohol and drug abuse in 1989 to educate and engage residents. And this will further recognize the need for such program. Award contract 22 to Boswell, this is 22289. Boswell Engineering for engineering services for 2023 road surfacing program. There is a need for engineering services for the 2023 road surfacing program. Boswell has submitted a proposal October 24th, 2022, not to exceed $23,500. CFO has certified funds are available. 22291 is to authorize a lien on 81 Lakeview Terrace, Block 2518, Lot 16, and it's a report to put a lien on because property had to be maintained by our DPW, and this is the amount of $305.60. Resolution 22292, authorized transfer between budget appropriations. Current fund police overtime $17,000, and to building and grounds park and rec facility maintenance $7,500, buildings and grounds repair and maintenance $7,500, municipal clerk print advertising $2,000. Resolution 22293 is to authorize the purchase of the fire chief's vehicle. Oakland has published notice soliciting sealed competitive bids on April 2nd, 2020. The borough is a member of the Houston-Galveston Area of Government's Purchasing Program, a national purchasing cooperative. The total purchasing price is $73,695. 22294 is to renew shared service agreement for lending of vehicles and equipment, and this is with the Borough of Franklin Lakes and the Township of Wyckoff for 1 year to expire December 31st, 2023, with an automatic 1-year renewal option. 22295 is authorized the UECA agreement with New Jersey Department of Transportation for Interstate 287 Improvement Project. And this is involving many towns along the Route 287 route. And it consists of a design and construction of Interstate 287, Route 202 to Ramapo River, located in Montville Township, Kinnelon Borough, Quantic Township, Riverdale Borough, Morris County, Bloomingdale Borough, Pumpton Lakes Borough, Wanacue Borough, Passaic County, and Oakland Borough, and Bergen County, hereinafter called project. 22296 is authorizing execution of a settlement agreement between the Borough of Oakland and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to resolve penalty liability at the Skyview Highbrook Sewage Treatment Plant. The borough currently owns and operates the facility known as the Skyview Hillbrook Sewage Treatment Plant, located on Lakeside Boulevard. There has been, from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, issued a pollutant discharge elimination system permit, and the borough in June 2017, borough previously submitted monitoring results for said plans, and the borough is obligated to pay a civil administrative penalty for violation pursuant to NJSA 58:10A-10D, and the department has proposed a settlement agreement requiring the borough to pay $1,000 in settlement for accrued penalty liability. 22297, authorized grant agreement for Bergen County Community Development Block Grant CDBG fiscal year 22 for River Road improvements, and to enter into agreement with the County of Bergen for the purpose of using $101,331.50 in 2022 Community Development Block Grant funds for the River Road Improvements Project. And 22298, authorized change order number 1 for Oakwood Knolls, Chapel Hill, Skyview, Highbrook Treatment Plants Decommissioning Project. The contract was awarded to Pacific Construction in the amount of, that is $5,531,500 for the Oakwood Knolls, Chapel Hill, Skyview, Highbrook Treatment Plants Decommissioning Project, change in method of installing pipe Route 202 with the railroad crossing, and the change order would be $108,669.47, and our CFO has certified that funds are available. And, any pulled out?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
22,293, please.
293 is the purchase of a fire chief's vehicle.
Correct.
Any others?
296.
296?
287, please.
Very well, 296 is the $1,000. The 293 is the fire chief. And what else?
287.
And the 287 is
Solid waste
Garbage.
recycling.
the recycling and garbage. Any others? Other than those, is there a motion to approve by consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Slazinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go in chronological order. 22-287, award bid for solid waste recycling and vegetative waste collection to Suburban Disposal, Inc.
So just,
Yes.
again, we only received one bid for
Yes.
this.
That's correct.
And so I think we've done it in the past, but can we send a letter to the state maybe saying, hey, what's going on here?
Just so you know, we have sent a letter through the Northwest Mayor's Group. We have sent a letter through the Bergen County League of Municipalities. Plus, the State League of Municipalities has sent a letter.
Send another one.
And here we are.
I just think,
You're absolutely right.
maybe
Everybody is,
maybe the flow district, maybe we get one with the flow district.
we tried that too.
Just because, it's just ridiculous that we get one bid every.
And every town, we talk about it and we send letters and maybe we should go down to Trenton and rally. I don't know what to do. All the towns.
Every town only gets one bid. Every town gets one bid.
One bid.
That sounds like there should be a state investigation.
Yes, it does.
How about federal?
Well, have we ever written a letter to the State Attorney General?
We have written a lot of letters.
To the State Attorney General?
Yes, and the governor. And we've called
Do you get a
our
response?
legislators.
Do you get a response?
No. They take the letter and they read the letter.
That's it.
I mean, unless we go down to Trenton, we should all go down, Oakland, we should go down and rally. I mean, I don't know what else to do. The garbage companies, every town you talk to, it is not competitive bidding.
Since I'm not an attorney, what do you call when a group of people get together to sue somebody? It's a what? It's a
Class action?
class action. Right, thank you.
Right. Well, who do you sue, the state?
You want to sue the garbage
Individual
companies?
contractor.
You sue the garbage companies. I don't know what to tell you. We could try it, we'll send more letters.
It certainly couldn't hurt, I know Wyckoff just opened bids recently, they're in the same situation. Franklin Lakes opened, I'll say bid, tomorrow. I would expect them to be in the same situation. And then collective action is the way to go. Although, as the mayor indicated, we have tried that. The league has weighed in on this. The state knows about it. They asked about it as a survey question a couple of years ago on the best practices inventory.
Isn't there a consumer protection group for municipalities?
No,
No.
just only for people.
Jeez Louise. This is pathetic. It's
I understand
pathetic.
where you're coming from, Russ.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, especially with the efforts that we do to try to attract additional bidders and get these companies to.
There's got to be some federal
Listen, I'll say this.
FBI law.
Instead of talking after opening bid, they're all just not bidding before. They're all getting to the before,
Right.
putting one bid in, right?
They all know which towns they're bidding
Yeah.
for,
That's it.
ahead of the bidding, prior to bidding.
I mean, there's proof right there. Ask municipalities, do you get more than one bid? Everybody's going to say no. That doesn't sound like a monopoly or whatever.
You mean collusion?
Collusion.
Yes.
Sounds like too much shoes for me, but.
That's aggravating.
And I don't think New Jersey is unique in that,
No, it's not.
right? And that's the sad part, we're in the wrong business.
So that's just all I wanted to.
Well, again, and we said that, maybe we should go in our own business. Maybe we should collect our
Well,
own municipal
that was an
garbage.
idea we discussed during the meeting, and Glen Rock picks up their own garbage, is that correct? It's Glen Rock, I know, because I've spoken to the Glen Rock.
Well, Lincoln Park does too, I think.
Glen Rock does, Ridgewood does. I don't think Lincoln Park does.
But we don't have to rehash all that. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
So that's something we said we would look into, but right now, we're stuck with one bid, garbage company.
Can
So
we,
either-
can we set a date in
They didn't
January?
even give us, and this time, right, they didn't even give us choices?
I'm sorry.
It says.
They charge the same for
It
everything.
says alternate one, but there was no other alternate.
They charge the same
Well,
price for all
there-
of them.
We asked for pricing on 2 different alternates. The contractor submitted the same pricing.
Right, didn't matter.
Can we set a date in January that we have a roundtable discussion on starting our own solid waste collection?
Well, the committee said they were going to start investigating.
Yeah, I can tell you it is something that we're already looking at.
Yes, it's already in
Okay.
the works.
It's something I'm also
Okay.
talking about with my colleagues in Northwest Bergen, in terms of looking at perhaps a different delivery model where it's kind of called a joint meeting. Perhaps a group of towns take it on as a regional-wide type of service. We'll be exploring that as well.
Can we have a report on any progress by the last meeting in January, please? Whether there's no progress
Report
or...
From whom?
From the group, from Mr.
committee.
Coons.
And Mr. Kunz has been talking to the other administrators, and I've been talking to the mayor. Like I said, the only one that I knew of that collected was Glen Rock, but you said Ridgewood also? Mr. Kunz?
Ridgewood and Glen Rock, I believe both do.
I know Glen Rock does, definitely.
Ridgewood
She'll
does.
talk about it.
But I'd like to make a motion that we get a report from Mr. Coons at the second meeting in
I
January.
can tell you that we're going to have all of our i's dotted and t's crossed in 3 months with the holidays coming up. It's a much longer term proposition that you're looking at, Pat.
But in the
If we're-
meantime,
if
we
we're
have
going
a
to do it
contract
right,
for 2023.
Okay, it's
Right.
not something that you're rushing to in that
We
you're
need
going to
garbage
get done in
picked up.
that sort of timeframe. It just isn't.
Rich, do you recommend that we, even though we've identified this problem and we only have one, just in order to protect us, the residents, from any hiccups, should we vote on this
Oh,
tonight?
I think you need to award the bid.
Yeah.
And, and that was one of the factors
Yeah, we
why
have
we
to.
weren't going with the full 5-year contract,
Right.
right? Let's give us time to do what we need to do.
Right,
And, take the years in the contract that have, outside of the jump that we're gonna see next year, years 2 and 3 have relatively modest increases on a percentage basis. So limit it to 3 years, because even if we make that determination, Pat, that yes, we're gonna go in a different direction, the amount of time it takes to implement that is considerable, just to purchase equipment.
Yeah, I'm not saying I wanted a decision by the end of January, just, we met January the 11th and we discussed this and we're gonna make the next meeting February 15th and, just to let us know we're moving in the right direction,
Oh, of
Committee-
course I can provide that sort of an update to you.
yeah, just an update, not a decision. No, of course not.
But yes, the recommendation, was at the last meeting to proceed with issuing a 3-year contract.
Because maybe in your group, you found a question that we never thought of. And it's nice to know along the way, what are the things we need to be addressing and what are the solutions? Or what are
We
the
even met
pros
with
and what are
the-
the cons?
We even met with how long ago did we meet with the owner of the company who described everything in detail? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, pre-pandemic.
Might be 3 years.
Yeah.
So should we make a motion to adopt?
Is there a motion to
Make it.
adopt?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes,
Saliani?
Yes.
Slozinski?
Yes.
Talamini?
Yes.
The next one is 22-293, is the authorize the purchase of fire chief's vehicle, and that is the total purchase price of $73,695.
Richard, maybe you could answer, sounds like $73,700 is a lot of money for a vehicle. I know I think our police vehicles are around 47, 49,000, something like that.
Not with outfitting, this includes outfitting, Pat. This is everything all in.
Again, all right, what is the outfitting gonna be? What are we outfitting with that we don't have now?
You're talking about lights, radios, the entire back of the vehicle has different trays and bins and all of that, and that's all, that's not included in the base purchase price of the vehicle.
Are we using the same radio? Are we taking the radio from one vehicle and putting it back in this one? Or are we buying a new
Maybe
radio?
some that are reused, but you still have a labor cost there with the outfitter to transfer any equipment over.
Yes, it sounds like a lot of money, $74,000. It says here it's 10 years old. I don't have any objection with that. I mean, the vehicle I don't say it's on his last leg, but it's getting up there. And I know it's used quite a
It's
bit.
itemized, all the equipment is itemized. You see the itemization
No, I didn't,
on page 3?
I have to look it up now on the computer. Can I see it? Will you pass it down?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
Yeah, well, I'd have to close out of this and open it up.
Is there,
Based on the current cost.
is there a significant savings going through?
No, it's
the-
only
the
13,000,
co-op
14,000.
that buy the cars?
So that would bring down to 60.
So it's like 60,000 for the
Yeah, we
vehicle with
need to-
14,000
part of the-
accessories.
Part of the process of using a national co-op, right, is that it saves you money. You actually have to come up with a cost savings determination. And so this is cheaper than, let's say it was on state contract, or we were to do it, one-on-one privately, we'd have to bid it out. This is a better price, which is why we're.
An 8 months delivery.
Yeah, and I think that's probably optimistic at this point.
Yes, I mean,
but
if you buy a
based on when
car
it was
now-
submitted, it was 8 months.
You can't even get one right away.
I think it's also important to point out also that we're getting 10 years out of these vehicles.
I see that, yeah.
So, they are really running them out, and I can tell you, the fire department, the other one is really getting pretty rough and rusting out.
I mean, I also know that the chief's car is a command vehicle where from that vehicle, he administers the fire, et cetera, and he needs the equipment that, I understand that, I just thought $74,000 is an awful lot of money. I get to 60,000 for the car with $14,000 accessories.
It's all a lot of money.
It's what?
It's all a lot of money. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I can tell you though that given this vehicle, given the options that are selected, this is a fair price. This is a good price.
Like I said, it's only, I don't want to say only 14,000 in accessories. I mean, that's not a lot of money. Just that figured the base price is 60 Gs.
Well, it's inflation for you.
Can I make a motion to approve?
Second.
Any further
And I do
discussion?
just want to point out that this is something that the fire chief, I think originally asked for 2 or 3 budget cycles ago.
Yes.
And we deferred at that point, saying, we wanted to see, let's get more use out of that.
Yeah.
I think at 10 years with probably what's going to be closer to a 1-year delivery time, the time is right.
Okay.
To be able to do that, especially
Okay.
since they have a plan for how they're going to actually continue to use the vehicle.
I mean,
And replace a vehicle that's even older.
Yeah, and it's important, I just want to back up what we're saying. It was 2 years ago this was brought from the governing body, and we did defer on the purchase last time. So-
Just that I think it's incumbent upon me, I don't want to say the rest of you, that when I see a price like that, I'm going to question it. It seems like a lot of dang money, but it is what it is. That's the going.
Have you shopped for a car recently?
No. Anyway, that's okay.
Okay.
Roll call.
Motion on the table.
Roll call.
Council members Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Slawsinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Resolution 22-296, authorizing the execution of settlement agreement between the Borough of Oakland and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to resolve penalty liability at the Skyview Highbrook Sewage Treatment Plants.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to just pull this out and then kind of express my feelings on the fact that here we are spending all this money converting all these sewer plants. And the DEP is coming in and now we're getting nickel and dime for $1,000 for a smell of ammonia when we're going out of our way trying to meet these deadlines for the DEP. And I just think it's unconscionable that the DEP would continue to keep hitting us with these silly nonsense fines at this point when we're getting out of the business. Thank you.
Well, we had discussed this earlier, and we said, well, we could appeal it, and our borough attorney said we could appeal it, and then they could take us to court, and this is the minimum fine. Or we could write a letter and say, I suggest that we just pay $1, just as to show them that we understand and we're trying. But they said, as you told us, Brian, that this is the minimum fine, and yes. And what did you say?
Put them on a payment plan.
No, Councilman Pignatelli, about the fines?
Yeah, the DEP uses this money to sustain their budget.
Right.
You know, they're not gonna fine us $1 because it's not gonna help their budget. $1,000 might not help their budget in a great way. It'll buy the paper clips, but they don't have to spend money for the paper clips because they're fining us.
It's
Well,
a,
when we write the check, we can write under protest.
Yeah, and no paper clips.
it's a hidden tax.
It's terrible, terrible. I can't believe our own government is fining us for something we're trying to correct, as Councilman Kamala says, and they're going to fine us $1,000.
Well, I think the worst part of this is what I had asked earlier, that they just let us know now, when they were aware of this
In
months
April,
ago.
yeah.
But we could send a letter that was under protest.
Yes, definitely,
Mr. Cons, when this check goes out,
definitely.
Mr. Cons,
I'm serious.
are you listening?
I am.
Oh, you are?
And let the attorney in the strongest terms,
I'll sign the letter.
and our borough attorney should dictate it in the strongest terms.
I'll sign the letter.
Right, Mr. Attorney?
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Napolitano.
Second? There's second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Kamala?
No.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Protest.
Slazinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
We are paying under protest. We will send a letter under protest.
In the strongest terms.
Yes.
You stink.
Literally.
You creeps.
Okay, we have ordinances, introduction.
Burns me up.
This is 22 Code 896. This is an ordinance establishing the Business Insurance Registry, which we had discussed previously. And as of August 5th, 2022, the municipalities are requiring business owners and rental unit owners to maintain certain liability insurance policies and to register the compliance certificate of insurance with the municipality annually in which the business or rental units are located. Is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Slazinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Final adoption is,
November 22nd.
so I ask everybody, and that's on a Tuesday night in case, that's Thanksgiving week. And Thanksgiving week in the past, we have had our meeting on the Tuesday night instead of the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. So please read this ordinance, and we'd love to hear your opinions. 22, Capital 897. That is a capital ordinance to amend Section 2 of the Capital Ordinance entitled Capital Ordinance of the Borough of Oakland and the County of Borough, New Jersey, authorize the making of various public improvements and acquisitions in, by, and for the borough, appropriating therefore the sum of $4,765,250, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the capital improvement fund of the borough, $1,470,153 from the general capital fund balance, $400,000, and from the various grants, $2,895,097. Is there a motion?
So moved.
To introduce?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Slazinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Final adoption.
November 22nd.
And in case you didn't understand what I just read, please read it before the next council meeting. Ordinance 22, Code 893. This is final adoption. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 59 of the Code of the Borough of Oakland entitled Land Use and Zoning. And this is what I had mentioned earlier during the presentation. The planning board has asked that certain fees be increased, such as what happened with the Hovnanian development. Then we had to have a special meeting, or some zoning board meetings, special meetings, and they would have to pay so that we don't have to incur the expense to our professionals. So at this time, we open to the public. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone wish to speak on this ordinance? You can speak. Yeah, it's open to the public.
On the ordinance, though.
On this ordinance.
Just on this one?
On this
or
one, it's
on
all-
anything that happens?
Just the
tonight?
ordinance.
Just those ordinances.
Never mind.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Or anyone wishes to speak?
Motion to
not-
close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and now there's a motion to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 59 of the Code of the Borough of Oakland entitled Land Use and Zoning.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Swazinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have work session. Short-term rentals, boarding houses.
Are we gonna be able to put an ordinance in this place? If not, should we table this till January?
I'm sorry, what?
We're not, are we gonna be able to put an ordinance in place if we do this work session now? When we want to push
This
it till
is just a
January?
work session.
Why don't we, I'd like to make a motion, we carry this to January,
Which one?
the boarding houses.
The work, the
The work
work
session item?
session?
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. We don't have to do anything because it's not table, it's just work session.
Right, right.
Sorry, use the wrong word, table, my bad, everybody.
Okay.
Recreation fee amendments.
Okay, so as we do every year, early on in the budget process, we meet with the Recreation Commission to review their budget proposal, and out of that comes a series of recommendations for any adjustments needed to recreation fees based on things like league costs, or a number of teams, or new programs. So what you have in the packet are the recommendations for adjustments to the fee schedule for next year. You have a memo there from the Recreation Commission that explains what fees would be changed and why. It's an increase, or kind of a restructuring, if you will, for rec and open camp to identify the cost for 1 week of camp rather than 3-week block. Some increases for things like cheerleading and roller hockey due to the cost of referees and league registration, uniforms and the like. And so you have all of that to take a look at. The Recreation Commission is also asking that we adjust the fees for the field rentals. They haven't been updated in probably close to 10 years. And right now we're low compared to our other surrounding communities. And what that has effectively done is kind of driven people to us to try to rent our facilities because of that lower cost. And we'd actually like to cut back on that a little bit to help preserve the health of the fields. So the recommendation there is to take the daytime usage, which is like a 4-hour block, from 100 to 200, and the nighttime usage from $200 to $400.
And to be fair, coming from there and the stuff I do now with kids and sports, even the $200 to $400 is a fair price. There's other places that are like $400 on a day as well, so increasing is definitely needed.
Yeah, I completely agree with Councilor Saliani as liaison to the Rec Commission, also being involved in rec for many years, so I'm in agreement.
If everybody's okay, we'll prepare an ordinance for introduction at the next meeting.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is review best practices inventory.
Right, so this is the annual best practices inventory that's set forth by the state. It evaluates towns, or asks them to self-evaluate based on what are called core competencies, best practices, and then there's also unscored survey questions that help provide feedback on what towns are doing in a variety of areas. A score of 24 points or more required to avoid any loss of state aid. We have a score of 32 out of 36.5. So the completed inventory is provided to you in case you have any questions.
I do. I highlighted some.
Okay.
First one, 005. Has your municipality reviewed and updated its employee personnel manual? Within the past 3 years, we've said no?
We've reviewed it. We have not formally updated it yet.
Oh,
That's why we had an answer to that.
okay. The next one I checked off was 037. Has your municipality established an ordinance, an anti-nepotism policy that at minimum only authorizes the hiring of family members, relatives, and municipal? We never did that. Have we ever discussed that?
We do not currently have one in place now.
Okay. And then there was another one. Does everybody understand what that is?
Yep.
Do you want to, are you
No,
asking that we should do
I
it?
didn't know if we had one. I didn't know
Oh.
if we should, or we never discussed
Does
it.
your son need a job? Is that what's going on?
My
Does your
son?
son need a job?
My son, yes, my
live out of
son needs it.
state. Oh, your son?
No.
Oh, no, my sons live out of way, way far away. And 046, ethics law allows municipality to establish its own municipal ethics board. We never had one. Did we ever talk about that?
No.
No, because we go to
We follow
a
this.
labor attorney.
We follow the state ethics.
We ship it to local government.
Right, and that was it. I was just had those questions. I just, the nose, I was just curious about those. Anybody else, did everybody else read it?
I did.
All right, any new business? Old business? We still have an hour.
Well, hold, on. From a new business standpoint, I just want to point out, so at the Halloween, Halloween
Right.
parade, we did a survey with the grant group at Rutgers University, and basically we had all the residents walk up with dots, colored dots. What would you want to fix? You want to fix sidewalks, bike paths, downtown. So, Rich, when will that study come in? When will that study, will that work that was done come in?
Right, so that was the technical assistance program that we secured with
Oh, you were
Rutgers
there at that
and the
table.
North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority for a Complete Streets program. We have a meeting coming up in early December to meet with the team, review the results of that input that they got, and start reviewing a draft Complete Streets policy that they're helping formulate. Once the team reviews that, and we're ready to present it, that'll be forwarded to the governing body for formal adoption. And I would expect that to be sometime, hopefully within the first quarter of next year.
New business, right? Still on new business?
Well, I don't, did you want to, no, but did you want to say something, Michael?
No, no.
Oh, okay,
Thank
yes.
On the new business, there was a time, Richard, in which we had someone who was our grant writer. And I believe the grant writer was partially successful. Of course.
One who died?
Marlene
Yes.
Casey.
Yeah, you're not going to be successful in everyone, but anyway.
Well, she died.
Have we thought of doing that again?
So,
I've asked.
so Ms. Casey and her company was basically, would do certain capital grants, DOT grants, TAP grants on a contingency basis, right? They would get a certain amount of the fee. Their fee structure was based on the amount of the grant they get a certain percentage of that. We have looked at some other companies who all more seem wanting to have a retainer amount, a flat dollar amount to provide grant writing services, the bulk of which are things that we already do in-house. So we have also used different writers for different applications. For example, Boswell helps write our DOT grants. They're very familiar with those. We've used the historical architect for anything
She didn't do such a good job.
involving historic preservation. We've used the Land Conservancy to help write
You're
grants.
not listening to me.
I'm listening.
You know what I'm talking about, the street house.
Yes, yes, for open space grants. So, you know, if that's something that you want us to take a look at, we can do that again. Well, the last time we looked at that stuff, though, it seemed to be a little expensive for what we thought we were going to get out of it, given the scope of their services.
Well, there didn't seem any interest. I mean, I get calls, I have them come to Borough Hall, and talk to them. I think we should solicit people, companies that do grant writing and find out maybe there are still other companies that don't charge a fee or do it on contingency or, well, you know, I think, I listen to all the grants that other towns are getting and I don't think we're really doing this.
I think we have an opportunity down at League of Municipalities, see if we can source out, talk to some other vendors.
And I come back with all these names and then it just,
I
fizzles
just
out.
remember the last time that we looked, it was right after Marlene had passed away, and it was, everyone just wanted this huge upfront fee, and they were just giving us the services
and that was before the pandemic, so let's.
that we did. Yes, yeah. I mean, we could look again, but.
Yes.
but, yeah.
I mean, the TAP grant that we're applying for, and I know Michael did a lot of work on that grant, but it's a sizable grant. I'm talking $1 million. I mean, maybe we could have a person help Michael or just take a look at the application and see how we can make it look better.
We all agree with you.
Okay. Am I rambling? Is that why?
No, I'm just telling you, we agree.
Yeah.
And what Eric said is correct. Down at the league, everybody,
Okay.
I know a lot of you are going.
All right, okay. We'll look
Stop
at down
at the
the league.
booths with the grant writers
Okay.
and get their materials, bring it back.
Okay.
We should interview them, see what they're offering, and maybe we will get some
Okay.
good offers.
All right. Remind me.
Remind you, we're reminding you now.
Thank you. That's it.
Old business. No business, okay. Council committees, we'll start with you, Councilman McMahon. Yeah.
Thank you, I have no report.
Oh, next, Councilman.
I'm going to keep my remarks very...
I'm sorry, I do have a hybrid report.
A hybrid.
A hybrid report. It's really not my report.
What's a hybrid?
Well, I'm going to explain.
Okay.
It's really not my report. I got a communication with Mrs. Serenides with regard to something they're going to do with the Access for All Committee. And it
Yeah,
sounds
December
really-
18th?
Yeah, it sounds very good. I would like for her to come up to the podium and explain what she's going to do.
Well, during the open, she'll come up,
Oh.
and she's going to give me something so we could get it out, the message out.
Yeah, okay,
That's
because
great.
the sooner the
But that's
message
your
gets out.
committee,
Yeah,
Access
yeah.
for All.
The
So it's
sooner-
not hybrid, that's your committee report.
Well, that's my committee report.
Okay, wonderful. That's very exciting, and I went over to that. That's when I fell earlier. Yes, Councilman.
Okay, one quick thing, the Pee Wee football Super Bowl game is taking place this Saturday, 4 p.m. at Indian Hills High School. It's supposed to be a very exciting game, so they get to play in the bowl at the high school, so it's really, it's big time for them as far as Super Bowls with the little guys. Also, for the Arts Committee, they had their inaugural meeting was held when the committee was organized. The chair is Andrea Levy, vice chair is Allison Fleeson. Some of the topics that were discussed were craft fairs, open mic, poetry and music, etc., writing contest, public art, murals, pop-up galleries, some fairs, arts in the park, exploring live musics, once again the art sample, which we've been doing now for the last 2 years, and also they're also trying to explore ways of fundraising so they can have some larger venues come into town. If anybody's interested, the next meeting will be held 7:30 p.m. November 21st at the Oakland Senior Center, and that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mayor. I don't know if at our last meeting I reported from the Board of Health that they conducted their annual flu clinic. 36 people came to the senior center for their annual flu shot. And at the next meeting, I will report about the rabies clinic that was held on November 5th. Environmental Commission meeting was held on November the 1st. We talked about the application we had presented to us this evening about the marijuana cultivation application. The green team, I don't want to steal your thunder, but they're looking at recycling Christmas tree lights. So we'll get more information on that as we get closer to Christmas. Next meeting is December the 6th. For senior citizens, November 22nd, Senior Book Club from 1 to 2:30. The book that they'll be discussing is The Trader's Wife. November 17th, Thursday, from 9 to 3, AARP Safe Driver Course, $20 for senior members, $25 for non-senior members, and the mayor said you can have points taken away?
You can get, if you take the class.
Yes.
First of all, you can get a reduction on your car
Insurance,
insurance.
correct,
If you
yeah.
send it off to your insurance company. And if you have points on your abstract, you could get 2 points deducted.
There you go, 2 points for $20. I mean, it's not bad, $10 a point. On November 10th, Pat Schuber, which is tomorrow, will be presenting The Unknown Soldier. And
Wow.
I say it's tomorrow because in years past, I would always report that it was yesterday and don't remember. But anyway, I'm giving you fair notice, it's
Wow,
tomorrow.
that's very nice that he's still
Pat
around.
Schuber,
I didn't know that.
The Unknown Soldier presentation. And December 15th, seniors will be going to the Paper Mill Playhouse to see The Sound of Music. Cost is $72 plus $2 tip for the bus driver. And the price includes a pizza lunch, the bus trip, and orchestra seats. So they won't have to walk very far because the seats are going to be right up front. And the American Legion asked me to read this.
I was just going to ask you, you're a veteran.
Yeah, asked me to read this announcement. The annual Veterans Day ceremony hosted by the Oakland American Legion will be Friday, November 11th at 10:45 a.m. in Oakland's Veterans Park on Ramapo Valley Road. Inclement weather will move the ceremony to the second floor of the Legion building at 65 Oak Street. Churches will ring their bells at 11 a.m. Indian Hills soprano Deborah Myron I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, will be the guest soloist singing the national anthem and God Bless America. Ponds Church Reverend Nathan Busker will be given the invocation and benediction. Veterans Day honors American veterans of all wars and peacetime service for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. This, some people think that Memorial Day is for veterans who are alive. It's not. It's more for deceased members. But this honors all veterans. And let me tell you, if you take a look at the commercials on TV, whether it be Wounded Warrior or there's 2 or 3 of them, and you see men and women who come back with no legs, no arms, brain injuries. As a matter of fact, one of our past captains, what was his name? He went to Iraq and he had a concussion injury from an explosion in Iraq. Hammerly. Remember Hammerly?
Of course, I'm in contact with him.
He had a brain injury due to concussion. But believe me, these men and women, even if they're not disabled from the war, they sacrifice a lot to leave their family. It's not just the family. It's not just the veteran. It's the family too that goes through this. And can you imagine your loved ones being overseas, thousands of miles away, and you don't know whether they're alive or not alive? So please honor our veterans. If you have a chance to stop by Veterans Park on Friday, please do, and show the veterans that you do appreciate all their sacrifices that they've given for the way they love their country, and sacrifices that them and their families.
You should honor all veterans.
Honor all
Thank you for your
veterans,
service
yes.
to the country.
Thank you, ma'am.
And why is it at 10:45?
10?
Because you have to be ready for the 11th hour.
That's it, right.
The 11th day of the 11th month.
Correct.
That's when the bells go off.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Yes, Councilman.
So public events, like the mayor brought up, the Halloween parade, the best attended ever in recent years. It was really a great event. The day was nice. The cars were great. The costumes were great. It was just a lot of hard work into a great event, and it'll just be better next year. That's our goal. And then also coming up is the Christmas tree and Hanukkah and menorah lighting. That's going to be Sunday, December 4th at 5 p.m. There'll be Santa Claus there. There'll be some caroling and
what else?
And hopefully a light parade.
Yes.
And we're working on that. And then please, we always need volunteers. Can't have these great events without volunteers, and the more the merrier. And then at the schools are closed tomorrow and Friday because of teachers' convention, so just watch out for kids in the street running around. They'll be enjoying the next 2 days off. And then I just want to say congratulations to Councilman McCann and Councilman Slazinski on their victory. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that participated in the election. I've said it before, but this is an important job, and it's not easy to put your name out there for everyone to judge you. It's a big decision to make for you and your family to come up here and do this, and I appreciate everyone that participates in it, and just thank you to everyone that was involved.
Thank you.
That's it.
Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. Water and sewer updates. The decommissioning of the 3 sanitary sewer treatment plants The completion date for the project is August 24th, 2023. The contractor has completed the force main piping on East Oak Avenue, Yalpo Avenue, Franklin Avenue to Hiawatha Boulevard, and Hiawatha Boulevard to Monhegan Avenue. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, the contractor is expected to complete all force main work except for the underground crossing of the railroad in the downtown. The contractor will then perform the crossing upon approval of tonight's change order, okay, that's something else, and also start installing the gravity sewer on Monhegan Avenue. Lakeside Boulevard and Ramapo Hills Boulevard will be done about 3 weeks from now. The Iroquois Pump Station upgrades. Boswell Engineering, Oakland DPW, and Rockland Electric resolved a new service issue required by Rockland Electric, respecting the request of the adjacent homeowner. The project is approximately 50% complete and is expected to be completed by early next year. The PFAS compounds treatment at the 3 production wells. Boswell continues to prepare floodplain and wetland buffer permit application documents, which are expected to be submitted at the end of November or early December. My library update, the library wishes to send a big thank you to the Oakland DPW, fire, ambulance, and police departments for making this past truck day the best it has ever been. On Saturday, November 12th, at 10 a.m., they'll be hosting a STEM day with fun experiments for the kids, and you can register on the library calendar. And lastly, on Sunday, November 13th, from 3 to 5 p.m., they will have the Ramapo Valley Chamber Ensemble, and you could also register online for this event as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you. My report will be light today. The good news, we'll start with the positive news from Bush Plaza. The survey came in today. It just has to be signed. Just has to be signed and sealed, so we can. I'll get that to the chair of the committee, and we start our fundraising. Start going forth our fundraising efforts for Bush Plaza. Looking forward to that. The Green Team, we met on Monday. There's just a quick news. The town this year had the privilege of using a forester to help us do reviews, look at dead trees, and get things moving, make sure we're replenishing as possible. The forester is resigning at the end of the year, so we are putting out a open position to get a new forester to come to the town part-time. The current forester did a great job. He was part-time, he found a full-time job, so we'll be looking to replace him for starting in January. And that's all my report.
Thank you. And as far as Bush Plaza, I just want to shout out to Mr. Heffernan. I know he doesn't want to have his name mentioned, but as he knows, I'm working to gather. He doesn't. I'm working to gather up, if anybody's a homeowner, a business owner, I'm trying to get this Chamber of Commerce moving, and we decided to have a meeting in January. We will have a breakfast inviting all the businesses, all the commercial entities. If you own a business, know anybody, it'll be a breakfast, and Mr. Heffernan said he would come and show a presentation of Bush Plaza. You know, he has that PowerPoint, so that should help. You know, we could coordinate the beginning of the fundraising, and if anybody wants to start getting involved, it's going to be the Oakland Chamber of Commerce.
Mayor, I just have one more point.
Yes.
I wanted to congratulate Councilman McCann, Councilman Zalitsky on the win, and appreciate, to Russ's point, to echo it, not to belabor, is, anyone who runs, you put a lot of time and effort into it, so appreciate everything Andrew and Joanne did in the race to run, but, so appreciate everyone who tried to,
Yes.
grant the election. That's it.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just have one question for the Borough Minister. Mr. Coons, could you just give the public a quick update on the 202 side of Marks and where we stand, exactly where we are on the project?
Sure. John may actually have more information, but before you have to get up, John, essentially the contractor's working, doing the project, and it's still on track to get completed before Thanksgiving.
Terrific.
That's what I heard.
I took a survey to let them work on Saturday, November 5th, and they didn't work.
It turned out no. Turned out they didn't.
They decided not to.
And there were some timing issues there with ordering the
I
contract.
thought you voted no. I thought
When they wanted to start work and the like. So in the end, they didn't work on Saturday.
Thank you.
Did you want to say something? No. With that, where are we? We're at the public. Now you can speak. We're at the public. Motion's open to the public.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think we're all punchy tonight. Carrie Serenides, 41 Sioux Avenue. Well, I wasn't going to speak on the Access for All yet, just because we're still gathering some information. But from what we have so far is every year, the fire department decides to go with the fire truck on Saturday, December 17th this year, and they go through the town with Santa on the fire truck. What we at Access for All thought was maybe that would be just a little bit too much for kids that have any sort of sensory or auditory issues. Loud with the whistles. So we very graciously, and they very graciously accepted. We asked the fire department if they would consider doing a different time with a fire truck and Santa with no lights, a little quieter area, and no candy, just maybe a little gift. That turned into the fire department allowing us to have 2 hours on Sunday, December 18th, from 2 to 4 p.m. At the Danny D building. And from there, the Mothers Club of Oakland, which I am a member of, has offered to host hot chocolate and coffee. And the Oakland Elks Club has offered to donate some refreshments, some cookies and things like that. And Rich is very, very patiently helping me figure out how to order small little gifts for all the kids. So, and Michael too, thank you, Michael. Michael has just put it on the bulletin board out there.
That's where I saw it. That's why I came over to you.
Oh, it's already out. Thanks, Michael.
It's on the bulletin board.
Yeah, so it's already there, and it will be also on the advertisement that Chopper sends out every year. So it'll be advertised there as well.
And you'll put it in the December newsletter.
I wasn't planning on it, but I can, sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
right? There's no reason why not.
Okay, absolutely. But does anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
I think it's great. I thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you to the fire department. I mean, they're giving up 2 hours on a Sunday. We've opened it up to the Flow community. It's not just Oakland.
Oh.
But we might get 10 kids. We might get 100. We don't know. We are asking for RSVPs. I don't know where the camera is. We're asking for RSVPs. But anybody can come in the day.
Do they have? Is there an Access for All in Franklin Lakes and or Wyckoff?
I don't think so. There's an Access for All in Mawa.
Do you want me to contact the mayors?
Sure. Yeah.
We're just doing it as a flow community.
Yep. Yeah, and we're posting it to the
That's
schools
great.
as well. So yes. So if no other questions, I did have one question about Casala. I know that they mentioned that originally they looked in Hackensack and then they kind of migrated here. I'm just wondering if we found out if they ever applied in Hackensack and if it was denied and why.
I think
if it
that's on
was.
their application, that they have to stay, I believe I looked at the application, I thought it said on, and they said no, so
No. So they didn't ever apply in Hackensack.
from what I read
That's
on
what
the
it said,
application.
right? Richard, you listening?
Yeah, I didn't see anything that indicated that they applied either. I mean, we'll take another look to make
I
sure
will
we can
call the
verify that.
mayor in
I
Hackensack.
thought they had said that they didn't get the warm feeling there.
Right.
They
I don't think they ever really
didn't-
applied.
So they just didn't
yeah,
apply.
I thought that's what they said tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I
Have
heard
you
that.
been to Hackensack recently?
I
The
have.
building?
The
All
building that
buildings
they were
going up?
looking? Oh, yeah, it's,
I don't even think there's room there.
yeah.
Crazy.
I was just wondering if you knew why,
I'll
if
find,
it was
I will make
denied.
some inquiries with the administration in Hackensack.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, Council, Michael Elston, 78 Manitou. Just a question I didn't really hear. With the short-term rentals, why are we pushing off till January?
Because Councilman Celiani asked us to.
I think if you want me to respond to that.
Right?
Basically,
Not really.
there would be a change to the zoning, and it would have to be introduced, referred to the planning board, and then
Right.
adopted. And this probably would not happen this year, and we can't introduce an ordinance and adopt it the following year.
Makes sense.
And also, we have a planning board meeting, today's Wednesday, tomorrow night. Our next meeting is December.
Right.
And that's Hubdanian again, right?
Hubdanian,
Yeah.
Correct.
Understood.
Not an issue.
Thank you.
So that was a good point, Councilman.
Hi, Debbie Monteiro, 101 Walnut. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
When is Walnut getting paved?
When is what?
Walnut Street getting paved?
Our engineer has the list, the road list. Do you have the
That's
road
one
list?
question.
Yeah, it's on the list, it's scheduled, the contractor was contractually scheduled to pave it before December. The contractor, quite frankly, is having difficulty meeting his contractual obligations. Rich, myself, have met with him, and we are working with him to try to have Walnut done before December. But I have been instructed for this governing body to consider a possible change order for time, which may or may not be granted by this governing body. So basically, the contractor's in trouble, took off more than he could chew, and
So what does that do for us?
we're
the
trying to
residents?
meet with him to pressure him to get done before his contractual
The
obligation.
short answer is you were supposed to have had Walnut done.
Yes.
And now he's telling us there were major problems with the contractor.
I heard that.
That's the short answer.
Okay.
The longer answer is we don't know.
I have a big hole in front of my driveway.
Well, wait a minute, we can have DPW.
No, they've been there
Oh.
and been there and
In the
filled it and
meantime.
filled it, and
I
it's
thought in
just
the
getting
meantime.
bigger. I mean,
It's gotta get paved.
come on, you know, it's bad, and I'm
Gotta get
tired
paved.
of going in it. I have to drive over it and it every
We've
day.
expressed our dismay to the contractor.
Well, then we will express it financially.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what he did commit to us
And a
was to
penalty.
have his contract, there's concrete work involved on several roads, that he would remobilize a concrete sub, I think starting next week, and then follow with 4 of the remaining roads, I think including Walnut.
Walnut, Doty, and 2 small
and
cul-de-sacs.
2 others.
Why are you doing Doty if
by-
we're doing the piping?
That's done.
The piping is done, unfinished.
Finished, yeah.
Because today someone complained about it.
Which pipe?
I'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is what the contractor had committed to, basically getting everything except, I think, 2 roads done by mid-December or so. We're going to be closely monitoring that. If he doesn't meet those obligations, we'll be talking about possible liquidated damages.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
just, so,
No, I know, you can't
Can
saw the hole, but now it's
DPW
bigger.
help in the
It's like
meantime?
twice the size, huh?
Could they help you in the meantime, like
DPW.
patchwork,
They,
DPW?
you know,
least
it's
we tried
just,
over.
it's bigger now, you know what I'm saying? At first, you know, it was small, but now it's just, it's.
But in the meantime, can you please have DPW look at 101?
Yeah, just have patch.
Patch it up like a Band-Aid until it's
I
done.
know, I just, you know, it would just,
It's gonna get
we
worse
would like
with
it
cold weather.
fixed.
Yeah.
so, but
You know?
going forward,
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what?
they
marked the gas and water lines already.
next
Did you
year,
hear that, John? He said they marked the gas and water lines.
Well, that's a good sign then.
Oh,
so, so next year when we go for bid, and this guy bids again, do we have to take him, does he, can
Well,
he
he's
go-
not actually over his contract line yet. Okay, keep that in mind too. The contract runs till about the 1st or 2nd week in December, so. So
Okay, but obviously we're not happy
meantime,
with it.
call DPW's.
And so are many other towns.
Right,
I'll go
so,
there,
so
I'll go
now
there
next year
tomorrow or
when
the
this
next
happens
week, when I
again,
have time.
do we have to take his bid even, because it's not the most responsible bid, even though it's the cheapest, it's not the most responsible?
if he doesn't live up to the terms of his agreement and you want to basically disqualify him from bidding, there is a process to go through that we would have to
Well,
engage in.
let's
to do
get
that.
this done now.
Okay.
We'll worry about the next bidding, but in the meantime, let's help on the street.
But it's good to hear that somebody said that it's
Yeah.
the utilities.
They flagged it, they spray painted it and they flagged them. So you have yellow flags for the gas lines and blue flags for the water lines. That's all done on
Is the hole right near there?
Well, it's a good sign.
It's right on her driveway. It's right
You
on
know,
my driveway.
I will follow up with the contractor tomorrow to find out precisely.
Otherwise, can we get DPW at least to patch in the meantime?
On the excitement of it.
Richard?
And I know where Mrs. Mutterer lives. so-
101.
Yes, and I'll come and visit.
I'll be there. One more thing. What's going on with the old Burger King?
The old Burger
Come on.
King sat at the planning board. John, come back. Burger King, we sat, how long did we sit and listen to that?
So,
Where's Wawa? Come on.
No, Bob's not coming.
so we have an approval, we have, for
They had to
a,
get county approval after we
Yes.
approved it, after a couple of planning board meetings. Then they had to get county approval. And I'm told they finally have county approval.
the short answer is they have all their approvals.
So who's
And-
And the long answer,
I'm sorry?
the long answer,
The long answer is they haven't pulled the trigger yet. And it's up to them, the
You
developer.
mean Wawa hasn't pulled the trigger?
No,
Wawa's
it's
not
a different
coming.
entity. It's a strip mall.
no, strip mall.
Oh, strip mall.
There's been a retail strip mall approved there. I doubt they have tenants.
They told us they had tenants.
Well, if they
Mr.
have
Hurton from
if they have
Roger Griner
tenants-
said-
if they have
They'd start
tenants, they'd be
building.
in the ground.
But
We're
there's,
not holding them up, Mayor.
No, they have everything
they have
need.
everything they need. They were
Okay.
supposed to have finished this.
Before COVID.
Do we have an
Yeah,
abandoned
before
building
COVID.
ordinance?
Well, there is a time frame because that happened to another applicant before the zoning board, which if right?
I thought they only had a year.
If they have site plan approval, have vested approvals for 2 years, they can request extensions, those vested approvals.
Except if the
Gotta be 2
attorney did
years
not
at
ask for
Burger
the
King.
extension,
No,
then they
they
have
got
to
it.
start.
Yeah,
the
Wawa
process.
would have been open already.
That's
Wawa.
The Wawa pulled out.
That sign is still there.
Motion to close?
Is there anyone else who wants to speak?
I would like to speak, short speak.
Yeah, but it's not open to, it's
Oh, I thought it was open to
public.
the public.
Oh, you want to speak as a public?
Yes.
But you're a councilman, you can't speak during the public. What do you want to speak on?
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out and voting.
Oh, you could say that. Well, first I have to close to the public.
I thought we closed already.
Did we vote?
No.
We did?
Motion to close the public.
Second.
Getting out of hand here. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now speak.
For the record, I do not drink. Couple of things. First, Mayor, thank you for the call on Monday. It was much appreciated. In our campaigns in Oakland, I'm new to the town for the last 9 years. We tried to just tell everyone what Kevin and I were going to do, what our plans were, and pretty much our plans were in sync with all the other members and some of the conversations we had with the mayor as well. So there was no surprises in what we presented. But also, I want to thank the voters for trusting in me, being only living here 9 years. And it's a big responsibility, and I intend to do the job to the best of my ability. It may have cost me a personal friendship tonight, but that goes with the territory for what we think is right for the community. I want to thank everyone who worked on the campaign, who worked hard to get the vote out. Kerry, great work on behalf of our team. Thank you for your support and all of your hard work. Much appreciated. I also want to thank just about everyone on the dais that's appropriately to thank. Thank Councilman Kumala for coming back from his trip and working the phones. Mr. Piglitelli, I've never seen a guy work signs as efficiently as you, and I've been doing this for a long time. To Russ and Steve, thank you very much for your support and your efforts out there. And of course, to my running mate, it's different when you're running as a team cooperatively. And it's always good to, and thank you for asking me to do this. I much appreciate it. And finally, I want to thank Mr. Corelli for his election day work. As I said, I've been involved in municipal government for a long time, and the work that a clerk does on election day, the public doesn't know, but it's extraordinarily stressful. And I think we were running out of voter tape when I saw you on election day, and he looked as cool as a cucumber and fresh as a daisy, as he does tonight. And good work, very good work.
I want to compliment both Michael and Wendy. I was at Borough Hall signing checks and signing other paperwork, and people coming, because Borough Hall was not open officially, but people coming in to try and pay bills, and both Michael and Wendy here, they are trying to work on election day stuff, and they were so patient with the public. And it was just, I thanked them both that day, and I thought it was great. We're very lucky to have both you and Wendy, and thank you.
The town is blessed. Seriously.
So with that, a motion to, for the bills resolution.
Oh, Mayor, could I just mention one thing?
Sure.
I'm not going to repeat everything that Councilman McMahon just said, but I also would like to thank the voters and everyone that is, that re-elected me. Really humbled by it, and just really looking forward to the next term, doing my best for this great town. So, thank you.
Thank you. Bills to be paid.
Bills to be paid, $538,536.31. So moved.
Second.
If you read the bills list, you can vote. Roll call.
Council members Kamala?
Yes.
McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani?
Yes.
Kozinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Before I close, just remind everybody, the next meeting is on a Tuesday night. That's November 22nd, because it's Thanksgiving week. Also, there's a pending storm that could be coming. I mean, that's there. I got emails, I don't know if everybody received the emails from Rockland Electric and Public Service, preparing us. If there's any danger, there's a proposed tropical storm coming up north from Florida. That's supposed.
My daughter's getting hit right now again.
Oh, so it's very possible.
We could get up to 4 inches already.
If there's anything that we have to let you know, we will send out an alert to the public. So just be careful, be safe, and good night. I did that.
Yeah.